WIFTDPN.
That's why we shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go.
WIFTDPN.
Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great. Ooh, that is not what I want. Yo, that hurt. What's happening, good people? Sorry about that. Good afternoon to y'all, man. Welcome to this. What's today? Wednesday. Wednesday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb. Oh, that's what it is too. You gotta take your headphone off the thing. Now that your mic is on, that's what that was. Let's try this again.
It's Wednesday.
Let's try this again. What is happening, good people? Welcome to this Wednesday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. Each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m., we get together right here with you guys, and we discuss issues that are impacting the black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, and how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of those issues in the hopes of finding the best solutions for how we can overcome those issues, again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of this very important conversation. We think it's the blackest conversation in America. So thank y'all for taking a part in it. As always, your input is valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly ask you, please take a quick second to share the broadcast, share it on your personal page, share it even within your personal network. Anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of the discussion. For it is our belief that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of this conversation, the better the opportunities we have of finding those aforementioned optimum solutions going forward. So please, if you would be so kind, take a quick second and share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is That sweatshirt is fire, brother. What's the word?
Appreciate it, family. I'm blessed and highly favored, man. How are you?
Man, ain't nothing to it, man. Another day to come in here and hang out. A few things we're going to get into today. First of all, I messed around and found out that it's a Majani, like right up the street. They got the South Loop location, and they put it in it's like a food incubator space thingy-majiggy up the street that actually serves food. You can pick up food from 5 or 6 different spots. And Majani just
same as they do it in the hundreds. Then
is that what's happening out there?
Yeah, same setup.
Okay, yeah. So they got one of those down in the South Loop, and I don't know why I found out that it's a Majani 2 blocks from the studio. I done ate it 2 days in a row now. It's be banging though. So I just got done smashing a taco wrap.
Some vegan something, huh?
Yeah, lentil sausage and that type of situation.
That just sounds disgusting. But
it's not though. It's banging though. It was fire. And they had some roasted sweet potatoes. Mm-hmm. Fire. But anyway, man. So that's been going on. But man, some things we want to get into today. We want to talk about all of the threatening language that is coming out of the Biden administration towards its United States citizens. Man, they coming at these people like they're gonna do something about their behavior. Do you believe them, Toussaint, when they say things like, "Oh man, if y'all keep up all of this, extreme, domestic terrorism, we gonna yada 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 yada." It's refreshing to hear. I'll admit that. Do I think they're gonna do something to these people? Probably not.
I think we all up under the master con, bro.
What that mean?
I think we've all been fooled, and I think we continually getting fooled because we like getting fooled. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I have very little faith, Maze has this studio ninja rigged, and I'm having a problem getting this mic to me. I don't know what he wants.
So this is what you can.
Is this what he
It's
wants?
it's called under that leg over there. That's what it is. Okay. You see it?
Yeah, I'll get to it in a second. But yeah, I got very little faith, man. I was looking at the news yesterday. Well, let's get into some intro, something light, because that's part of the conversation we want to have today, right?
No, I'm just laying out some of the conversation. I don't want to have the conversation right now.
I'm almost fairly sure that they're not going to impeach Trump.
No, they aren't.
They aren't, right? And
Not because he doesn't deserve it.
Well, I think it goes back to the conversation of power and what we was having the conversation yesterday. And I think there's a confusion of where we are, and I think we keep having that conversation in a kind of a cyclical manner because we don't fully grasp the concept. We're powerless; they're not, right?
Yeah.
And the there and the they and the them in that paradigm, the goal is always securing white identity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? At all costs. I was looking at Amos Wilson this morning, man, and he said something in a lot of ways we don't understand. The creation of the nigga is what created the white man. You know what I mean? And it's because we keep speculating on when we get invited to the table, or when we find equality, or when we find equity, and it's not that kind of a conversation. It's a power conversation, and in order to have power, you got to have somebody beneath you. And we've kind of settled for being the beneath you, right? And even in having the cyclical conversations, it kind of reinforces the beneath philosophy. You know what I mean? Instead of how do we move forward up in the power scale.
Right. Right.
Just interesting paradigm, that's all.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And when you talk about, him being impeached, when you talk about them deciding whether or not they're going to impeach Donald Trump, I think that while he probably should be impeached, I do think he incited a riot on the Capitol, right? While he may have committed some impeachable offenses, I don't think that they are going to impeach him simply because it's not in the best interest of the shield, right, of the brand, right? And so it just doesn't serve the brand to impeach him at this point. It's not like he's still the president, right? So you'd be going back to impeach him from stuff he did after he's already out of office, and there's no real reason, looking at it from a pure power standpoint, to put that kind of scar on your brand, your image, for a dude who's already out of office. Now, if he was still in office and they were trying to get rid of him, they would go ahead and proceed with it.
No, but it is a real reason. And the brand itself is that, right? That again, that's kind of the cyclical nature of the conversation. The brand of America is the brand of whiteness, right? Nationally and internationally, brand of America is the brand of whiteness, as i.e. Britain was the brand of whiteness, a century ago.
Sure.
You know what I mean? We just had that quick conversation the other day when I said they're creating the MAGA party, right? We know for a fact that there's at least 70 million Americans just with that shit. Right? So to assume that there's no value asset attached to him not being able to run again or not to be able to position himself to run again, oh, it absolutely is. Specifically, if you was really in fear of him in the manner in which the American media or our community specifically deemed him to be. If you deemed him to be that big of a threat, you should never allow him the opportunity to obtain that power, at least not legally. You know what I mean? So to impeach him this second time would reinforce the idea that he could never run for political office again, right? But if they're going to the extremes of creating the MAGA party, the new president is saying, "Hey man, I'm not really sure we can make this move to impeach him, or even if it's in the vein of protecting the brand." Then you guys will start questioning what the fuck is the brand, because we see that the opposition is moving in the manner that says that they're preparing for this other opportunity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to make a decision. Is he that big of a threat to this country, or is he not? Are you going to do everything within your power to make him never be a threat again, or are you not? And if you're not, then what are you telling the people? That I've been lying all this time? Similar to how everything is opening up as soon as the election is over with COVID. What are you really telling the people? You know what I mean? You got to start asking these questions.
Yeah, but we knew that would happen, right? We knew the election would happen. Everything would go back to opening. I just think that at the end of the day, they are going to choose the image of the office and the image of the brand above, holding him accountable for his own actions. I think that they aren't really concerned that he'll be the president again. He just lost to a relatively weak candidate. I don't really see. I don't really think that is going to motivate them to not go ahead and do. I mean, to go through with it. I think they probably just want to say, why put that kind of stain on the office? Why put that kind of stain again on the brand when he's already gone? There's no real reason to do that, and so I don't think that they will. Ultimately, I don't think it's something that they'll see all the way through. Then they'll go through the motions and do what needs doing, and they'll file what needs to be filed. But in terms of seeing that thing all the way through, I don't really see that as being I don't really see that as being a real thing. And just from a marketing standpoint, it just doesn't really make sense for the brand to go back and do that. And so I think that they won't. But we'll see. You mentioned the fact that 70 million Americans are in full support of Trump, his rhetoric, his actions, and everything else about him. One such American happens to be preparing himself for the Super Bowl down in Tampa, Florida. That man's name is Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a supporter of Donald Trump. He is a Make America Great Again proponent. He's proudly displayed his hats in his locker during press conferences and whatnot. Shannon Sharpe, who is always been outspoken, he's the co-host of Undisputed, and he was talking about Tom Brady, and he made an interesting comparison to Tom Brady and his love and support for Donald Trump versus what that would look like if the likes of LeBron James came out with the same level of love and support publicly for the likes of Minister Farrakhan. What would the backlash be then? What would that look like for him then? Would it be the same as Tom Brady? Would it not be? Shannon Sharpe made the case that it certainly would not be, and I don't disagree with him.
I want to play the video because that I don't give a shit. I don't want to say I don't give a shit. It's not really about agree or disagree to me. Mm-hmm. It's a larger conversation at play, and it goes back into the context of power, right? So if we want to do that, we can go straight to the video. I would rather do that.
All right, well,
because that simplifies the conversation to me to say whether I agree or disagree.
You got to sync up to the system over here, and I can pop it on. I just think that he made a powerful point. He's going to reference. He's going to make the natural reference of Barack Obama to Reverend Jeremiah Wright and how he was forced to, disavow and kind of denounce his affiliation and relationship to Reverend Wright in pursuit of becoming president. And I think that's just kind of that would be. I think that LeBron James would face similar pressure if he was to come out in full support of Minister Farrakhan, whereas Tom Brady can come out in full support of Donald Trump with all of his visceral divisiveness and still be accepted. Nobody's gonna throw Tom Brady under the bus like that. Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, Tom Brady," like they just gonna let it ride. But he knew that, right? He understood it when he put the hat in his locker and said, I'm gonna leave the hat right here while I do these press conferences. Bro, you Tom Brady after a football game. You know good and hell well everybody finna be at your locker, right? You did that intentionally, and he did it because he can. And because who is you to knock me for my political affiliation? So that part I don't even disagree with.
We gonna tune out the Super Bowl?
Huh?
We gonna tune out the Super Bowl?
Who?
Anybody?
No.
Right.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
You let me know when you're ready, because I
right.
think it makes more sense to play the video. You ready?
Go ahead.
Let's rock. But wait. Start it over. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh, you good? Take your time.
That should be good this time.
Didn't change my view of Tom. I understood what Tom was for a very, very long time, Skip. He put that hat in there for a reason, letting you know that I support my friend Donald Trump, and no matter what he says, I support him. Skip, Mark McGuire was not trying to hide the fact that he was taking androstenedione Dione. Skip, it was right there front and center in his locker. When you pan to it, you saw all the bottles.
No, but I thought that was a diversion.
That was diversion.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, he was taking...
That's the lights.
Yeah, he was taking that on top of the other stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the hat.
Okay.
I put the hat there, I support him, but I support him in another way. Skip, let me ask you a question. And I know people, I was reading a little bit of the article where they tried to make the parallel between Colin Kaepernick and Tom Brady. But I got a better comparison. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, LeBron James says, my friend, Minister Farrakhan. How would America react. You see, blacks have always had to be very, very quiet about who our friends are. They made President Obama disavow Reverend Wright. Donald Trump staying front and center with David Duke. A lot of these radical ministers that says things that are controversial. He doesn't have to, I don't know who they are. All he says, I don't know who they are. LeBron James could never say, a prominent black athlete could never say, Minister Farrakhan is just my friend. They try to cancel anybody with the just mere mention of Mr. Farrakhan's name because we like Tom Brady.
Although, just a quick point of order, after all LeBron has done for this country,
let him say it.
Well, if anyone could get away with saying that, he could. But go ahead.
He can get away with that one, Skip.
Okay.
There are certain things, Skip. We've seen guys that have mentioned, and society have tried to what we kept the cancel culture now.
Yep.
And that's what we are, Skip. Skip, if we like somebody, we're more forgiving of their actions. We're more forgiving of their words, their deeds. If we don't like you, we will go to heaven and earth. We'll go back 15 years, how long Twitter's been on, and we'll scroll and try to find something that you said 15 years ago. If we don't like, kind of like Tiger. You watched the documentary of Tiger, Skip?
I did. We need to talk about it. We will.
Okay. You see what they did, Skip? Once they got him on the radar, they never let go. They went to heaven and earth because they wanted to bring him down. When they want to bring you down, they'll move heaven and earth. If not, they'll catch.
Although he went a long way to bring himself down. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
he didn't do anything public. You had to snoop. You had to find that out. He wasn't doing it in public. But that all I'm saying, Skip, look, that's his friend. He says that's his friend. It's kind of hard to separate, Skip, when you got a friend that's as divisive as this, and you say that's still my friend when you know what he stands for.
Yep.
That Make America hat, that MAGA hat, you put that there for a reason. And you know how divisive it was going to be. And you didn't take it down until you caught criticism. Didn't change what you thought. So for me, Tom Brady, I still look at Tom Brady as a great, great player. Been around him a little bit, don't know him that well, but it didn't change what I thought of him because I think what I think of a lot of people when it comes to President Trump, they think with their back pocket, and that's it. Didn't change my view of Tom.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I agree with Shannon in the argument that he's making,
But
I agree with Tom Brady in the movements that he's making.
those being what?
Standing on his beliefs, whatever they might be, right? And what I think really what Shannon really was explaining and what he really exposed in that conversation was the level of capitulation in black men and black masculinity. What I think he really said was, we cowards. There's no logical reason for Barack to have to abandon Reverend Wright, other than I am going to capitulate to the white supremacist system.
Agreed.
That's it.
Agreed.
There's no logical reason for LeBron James to say, I got to separate myself from the minister, other than to say I'm capitulating to white supremacy, which is, in essence, at its core, some whole shit. There's no way around it. So when Trump says it's good people on both sides, because I fucking can say that.
Right.
And what you going to do about it?
Right.
Right? And until we get, in my mind again, and maybe I'm off here, but until we get into a space and place as men where we're comfortable in our own skin and standing on the shit that we believe in, then you're going to keep getting hoed. The bully don't stop hoeing you because you didn't identify that you a hoe. That's some stupid shit.
Go keep holding you, fam.
And what I mean, even when we have these other conversations, these are the voices. These are the public voices. And all that it does all the time is to reaffirm our commitment to cowardice. So Shannon's right in his idea of his understanding of his identity. Yeah, I got to hide my friends. Then they ain't your fucking friends.
Right. No, that's true. That's like you can't make me denounce my partners. You know what I'm saying? And but that's just, again, things that we understand very well growing up in our communities. Somehow we lose those things as we get adults, and other things become more important. Other things determine our degree of loyalty to certain people or certain ideas, even if they are, our own ideas, right? We kind of get used to it. We kind of let go of those things for whatever reason. Growing up, you understand, you're not finna make me, denounce my relationship with none of my homies. Like, and we've been in those type of situations before. Motherfucker run up on you, catch you slipping somewhere, like, hey, don't you be with such and such? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, that's my nigga. And what? Like it's like I can't be like, nah, I don't know him just so I can, you know what I'm saying? Like that ain't the way you move. But when you get in these situations and you put other things ahead of that level of loyalty, then you do that. Like nah, I don't fuck with dude.
We
You know
don't
what I'm saying?
lose them lessons though. And I'm gonna be clear
We
about
choose something else is what I'm saying.
I don't even think we choose something else. I think I'm gonna explain it to you.
Okay.
Right? I don't even think we choose something else. It's about our access to white America. Right? So you can talk all that tough Tony shit, but the minute the police show up in our neighborhood, even as shorties, you start capitulating. You start moving different. Right? Now Chicago's a different breed in its essence because it's specifically for our generations. It wasn't even that many white people that came through our neighborhoods. You didn't see them very often.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But even the criminals in our neighborhood didn't go downtown to kick shit off.
Nah.
It wasn't like that.
Nah.
You understood your place. You stayed in your place. You did your shit in your area. Now, as an adult man, though, you got to get off of that block. You got to go somewhere. You got to feed your family. And you start to realize, one, I don't have the skill set or the understanding of how to create my own capacity to make wealth. Right? And if I don't have that skill set or that capacity, then out comes the hoe. Because you are now subservient to a system that says the only people like you, that look like you, that we allow in here is at a docile level.
That's your only way to enter.
It's the only way to enter. But that becomes the first time, as you know, from childhood to manhood, that I now got to leverage this system.
Yeah.
Right? You kind of outside of the system, except i.e. the police showing up, or i.e. you going to school. And if you look at those institutions, school and prison, you capitulate to those all the time, even as a shorty. Because even as a shorty, you start to get reared in this kind of ideology of, I got to stand down, I got to be a coward. It's the shit that I just want to see you come home, son. Right? I struggle in talking to my child like that, my boy specifically. And I won't tell him that. I say it's a case-by-case basis. If you allow them to take advantage of you, they're going to take advantage of your son too. So I love you, and I want you to come home. But we are prisoners at war. And until we conquer the enemy, we're going to keep being prisoners at war.
Yeah, and I feel you, but I really think you said the same. Like you said that like it's not that we make another decision. I think that's exactly what it is. They've made another decision that something else is more important than their freedom, than their ability to choose who they can associate with, who they can be around, who they can be in allegiance with. And that thing that they've chose is whiteness, ultimately, right? It's capital, it's whiteness, it's trying to ascend that socioeconomic ladder. And like, again, if that's what you want, cool. Just say I'm on that. Just say I'm on that. You don't got to say, oh, Reverend Wright is this, or you don't got to say that Minister Farrakhan is this. You just got to say, I am this. Like I'm on some other shit, right? It is not in my best interest to say that I am associated with them because I'm trying to climb this white ladder of economics, right? And cool, bust your move. But I think that it is absolutely a decision being made that you're choosing that thing over your own freedoms to decide what type of man you gonna be. That's it. And when you white, especially when you Tom Brady, you don't have to make that choice, right? It's one and the same. It is the same choice, right? I'm making this choice to continue to climb this ladder, and it's aligned with whiteness, the same shit. So I don't have to shit on the people that, you know, I'm tied to because we tied to the same thing. But if I'm Barack Obama and I'm tied to Reverend Wright and he's not tied to all this white America bullshit, then I got to make a choice here. And Barack chose the white America bullshit, and this is only a hypothetical situation that Shannon is presenting, talking about LeBron and Minister Farrakhan, but LeBron would choose the white America shit too. He would not choose Minister Farrakhan in that situation.
But even in the Barack conversation, right, he distanced himself from Reverend Wright.
That's what I'm saying.
But check game. The minister had a private conversation with Barack before he ran for office.
I know this.
Right? Everybody knows it. Well, I ain't going to say everybody knows it. But think about this. Think about the minister himself, right? The minister has a photograph from that moment.
I know this.
That he kept secret for damn near
just
12
to do him
years.
a favor. Just to do Barack a favor.
Right.
Like, man, if they see a picture,
it's dead.
He was the one. In fact, he was like, man, when they said let's do the picture, he was like, nah,
That's dumb.
That's dumb. You shouldn't take no picture with me. It's like, I take the picture anyway. Like, so I took the picture, but I got it, and I ain't let nobody see it for 12 years. Ain't nobody see this damn picture.
Right. And granted, that's the minister. I love Rev Wright, but he ain't the minister. You know what I mean? So if he shunned Reverend Wright, and I want us to be very clear about how we responded to that shunning as a community, specifically Chicagoans, because we justified it. When he's running for president. That right there in that moment should have told all of us who that man was. Character matters. But see, Paul Jackson said something in the comments already. He said Barack was in the middle of a presidential campaign when his affiliation with Rev Wright surfaced. Affiliation with Rev Wright. That in itself bothers me. Right? Because it assumes that Rev Wright has some kind of denotation of
like it's some conspiracy they do.
vitriol or
You know what I'm
some
saying?
shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's a reverend and he's a good dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a community. He's a
What's
a
wrong with being
pillar in the
associated to this
community,
pastor?
Right? And I'm from 95th Street. So I'm really associated with
Right.
how Rev moves in our neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that like affiliated, like it's some level of vitriol attached
Right.
to Rev. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? That bothers me.
Yeah.
Right? But Brady would have to be more careful if he was running for office in a blue or purple state. And that's why I said the Donald Trump shit I said. He can say, well, there's good people on both sides. He can say that because he's assured of himself.
Right.
Right? And then even in the bullshit where we think he's been condemned, we see in its aftermath, no, he's not being condemned.
Nah. It's being celebrated by half the nation.
Man, it's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's
You can learn a lot from a dummy.
if you call it dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's ignorant, but ignorance and stupidity ain't the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know that he's stupid so much as he's ignorant. You know what I'm saying? He don't be knowing what the fuck he's talking about. But he's very, very calculated in the moves that he's making. He knows what he wants. And he goes about getting it in one way, shape, or one way or another. So you know, I don't know that he's stupid. But I will say that when you talk about Tom Brady and, you know, if he was running for office or something like that in some swing state or some, you know, left-leaning state, then that would be a different situation. But we're talking about them being athletes, right? And so as an athlete, he should be able to say, yeah, okay, I'm the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and I fuck with Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? The problem becomes that LeBron James couldn't do the same thing. He couldn't say, superstar forward for the Lakers and I rock with Minister Farrakhan. That's not something that he would be able to do. And we just got to understand that, man. We got to understand that. And we got to understand that unless we do something different, it's going to continue. It's going to always be that way. So unless we actually stand on that and say, dude, I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel about it. That's my man's, and it can go down about it. Period.
So here's my problem, right? And this is kind of where I side with sisters. And I still think we all need to have this kind of open dialogue around, you know, gender and shit and how that's playing out and how it's being leveraged. But a few months ago, Tamika Mallory got pressed on her relationship to the minister.
Mm-hmm.
And Tamika Mallory said, yeah, that's my man.
Right. What else?
And fuck else is it?
What else, fam?
What else is it, right? And, you know, sometimes Tamika Mallory does some stuff I'm not necessarily in tune with, but I got that same feeling around everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But in that moment, I had to be like, I rock with that.
I respect it and salute that.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
She's moving into more masculine polarity than the vast majority of men that they allow into the room. Now, be clear. I know that's systemic, and I know that's part of the strategy, right? Mm-hmm. That's why Shannon has that job. Mm-hmm. That's why Barack became the president, right? But what I want us to understand from the origin, right, from the root, how we respond to those characters that they put in front of us, right? Those people are being selected. They're not being elected, i.e. from our community. And I don't even mean into a political position.
Sure.
I just mean into a position of value.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just like LeBron has been selected. Granted, he's a great ball player.
Sure.
Jordan was too. But he was not a voice of our community.
No, he didn't want to be.
I have more respect for that.
Yeah.
Right? Because he didn't have an understanding. You know, people jumped on his back because he wouldn't support the guy running for office in North Carolina. He was like, man, I ain't.
Mike, like, I'm in the gym 20 hours a day, fam. I don't even
mind
know
you,
what's going
the
on.
statement of, you know, Republicans buy shoes too came out, and in the Jordan thing, he kind of separated himself from that. Right. But at the end of the day, would you start to recognize that the man that never voted in his life? I don't know nothing about that shit.
Right.
I got more respect for that, bro.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to step out there in that polarity saying, hey, I'm the voice, or you should listen to me, or I got something to say about it, then you should be informing yourself about the situation. And otherwise, shut the hell up. Like we know Abdul Raoul Mahmoud, right? Who has an understanding, and I'm not even saying a political understanding, but he had a religious belief system. And when he stood on his religion, right, they tried to make him capitulate.
Yeah.
Right? And when he wouldn't, you out of there, boy.
Cool.
You out of there, right? But also via his skill set, they still can't separate himself from him. Still a high level paid trainer in the NBA. He's still active in the 3-on-3. He's still around. But I have more respect for you standing on your belief system than capitulating to dollars or proximity to whiteness.
Yeah, you just have to make a decision. You just got to make a decision about what's important to you. That's it. You decide what's important to you and what it's gonna be. And once you make that decision, you good. Like you good to roll and be whatever it's gonna be. You just got to be aware of the potential consequences that comes along with it, and be okay with them. Make your decision. What you can't do is try to straddle that fence. And I think that's where people get tied up with the likes of LeBron James. He'll come out and he'll speak about black issues, and again, I commend him for a lot of the things he does. I am not as down on LeBron James as you are on some of these social issues. But that being said, he does try to straddle that fence a little bit, to where it's like, yeah, I'm speaking out on these things, but not so much to where I'm finna fuck up all my corporate deals, none of that, right? And I think that eventually you got to make a decision about what's going to be most important to you. And, if he were to make that decision, it would not be received the same way as Tom Brady making that decision.
So this ain't about LeBron, though, for me, right? Shannon used the analogy of LeBron.
Right.
Right? LeBron is a high-level public figure, and Shannon used the analogy of LeBron.
Right.
Right? This is about black masculinity for me, because I'm not necessarily down on Shannon, but Shannon answered the question, and he answered the way in a cowardly manner, in my opinion. He answered the question in a cowardly manner.
How?
Because he said exactly what I said. If black people have had to hide their friends, no. What he should have said was, yeah, I fuck with that. If that's what he own, that's what he own. But as black people, we should have our own identity system says, we don't fuck with that. So if he's getting prepared, I hear us talking about Brady might be the GOAT of all time. We're celebrating this motherfucker. Right? And he's flat out saying, man, fuck y'all. Right? So if you was a man and you stood in your polarity, what you would be saying, man, fuck dude. I don't give a fuck what he do tomorrow. I don't give a fuck about his athletic prowess. Period. Period. And matter of fact, I'm have no interest in it because I can't support what don't support me. That would be the man polarity. Even on Shannon's conversation, right? Yeah, Brady could do whatever he want to do, right? But so can I. And I do rock with this. I do rock with that. If you were standing out front of it. But we don't have any power. It goes to the NCAA conversation. We keep thinking this. They didn't change the damn narrative so swiftly that we think powerless positions are the powerful narratives to push. It's like hands up, don't shoot.
Right.
That in its essence is a sign. It's the white flag. It's some coward shit. You should be saying, I'm gonna shoot you back, or I'm gonna shoot first. It's the game. We gotta understand that this game is about power. You cannot get equity when you don't have power. And you damn sure ain't gonna get equality. The very narrative of power needs somebody beneath it. But we keep asking the oppressor to value us. Even when Shannon it was articulate, it was well spoken, it was all that. But when you analyze the answer, what it really says is, I'm capitulating.
Shannon Sharpe was.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
And I used the analogy of LeBron would have to capitulate too. Which why Ali is the greatest athlete we've seen in ever. Because Ali said, man, fuck y'all. I'm black, I'm brash, I'm brilliant, and I don't give a fuck. Stop me. Whoop my ass if you can.
I didn't really get that from Shannon Sharpe's response.
Okay.
Like, I think Shannon was simply making a comparison between what Tom Brady's allowed to do versus how the response
allowed. Therein lies the context of the conversation. The fuck you mean allowed? I'm a grown man. What you mean allowed?
Allowed. He can do that without any backlash about it at all. And some pressure came and he took the hat out of his locker, right? But if that was LeBron James talking about Minister Farrakhan, it would be different. I don't think Shannon Sharpe was saying that LeBron James should capitulate in that way. Just that the response would be different if he were to do so, right? And so I think that we absolutely have to stand on our shit all the time. But that's just, again, for me, it's not even a political thing. That's not even a black thing for me, right? That's a fucking Herb thing. It's not deeper than that, bro. Like, it's not deeper than that. I had 5 friends growing up. That's it. Everybody knew. We was almost always together. Anybody we talk to, who you with? I'm with the crew. You know who I'm with. Like, you know what I'm saying? You want me to come through? Yeah, you know who I'm with. All the time. And you can't get me to fucking denounce one of them. Like, you can't get me to be like, nah, I don't fucking know them. Not for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not a real thing. It's just not something that really, and again, it's not even a political thing. And in this particular instance, it's not even a black thing. It's just how I am. And so I don't get how other people are a different way. Motherfucker couldn't come to me like, yo, man, 2, this, that, and the third. I don't think you should fuck, man. You get the fuck out of my face. That's what you could do. It just is what it is. Like you can't get me to be like, nah, that ain't my homie. It is my homie. And whatever you talking about is cracking. Like, I don't know where you get to a space to where something else becomes more important than the man that you are.
So, few things though. So, like, we really friends, right? We just ain't we don't just connect
right
here, right? So you got intimate understanding of my life, and you know I be in certain rooms that the average person probably wouldn't even assume I was in. You know what I mean? But we know there's a classification even amongst black people. I think it's a false classification.
It's bullshit, but it exists.
It exists, if not in nothing else but imagery, right? The vast majority of the times, even the moniker that Maze gives us of intellectual thuggery, right? That's a reference point to mostly how we look, right? But in regards to like thought, analytical thought,
right?
In most instances, we can hold our own with anybody in the room.
For sure.
Right? But I've been in them rooms, and I get devalued from the assumed upper class, black conglomerate, and then you get the same look and feel from the white folks that they trying to capitulate to because of how I carry it. You know what I mean? Now, I could make a choice. I could start to carry it different and probably move the ball faster. Or I could carry it different and move my ball faster.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
But it's an understanding that me moving the ball forward doesn't change the paradigm, right? Bill Cosby has millions of dollars, right? He made the pound cake speech. He was the one on stage talking about how black boys need to pull their pants up and black mamas shouldn't be doing shit, buying their kids sneakers if they're getting below C grades. Condemning the oppressed for being oppressed. But his son got killed on the side of a road.
Right.
All that capitulating, all that wealth you built couldn't save that boy from blackness. However he died. Right? He's in jail now for rape 30 years later, and I don't give a shit how people respond to this. I don't think Bill Cosby raped the women, and I don't fuck with Bill Cosby at all. You understand what I'm saying? But you are a powerless person. And the only way to overcome that is to go through it. You can't capitulate to it. Pain is a necessary medium. It's a necessary evil. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, it's a part of the process, right? And so I was just responding to something that Nicole said, and she says, "But standing 10 toes down, but standing 10 toes down will not get you to where you want to be if you have aspirations in politics." And I just don't think that we should aspire to things that require us to capitulate in that way, right? I just don't think that we should aspire to those types of things, right? And so if I'm on this track and I get to a point, I realize continuing along this track requires me to shit on people that I'm real, real close to act like I don't fuck with people that I actually do fuck with. I'm off this track, fam. I don't want to go this way no more. This don't make sense to me. And so I think that we gave Barack Obama the benefit of the doubt in that time, right? Here you are on the brink of history, and everybody wants to see this history. And so it's like, okay, he gotta kind of back down, right? He gotta kind of tone some of this shit down. They had the viral video going around with Reverend Wright and the Goddamn America campaign and all this other shit that was happening. And so, okay, cool. You gotta stop hanging around him a little bit, right? It's kind of like, oh, you know, I got the spotlight on me. I'm on parole. I can't really hang around y'all like that right now. Y'all still my people though, but I can't really come around like that right now. All right, cool. But we don't expect you to be gone like that for real. You know what I'm saying? We still expect you to be like one of us. We just you can't come to the trap no more. Cool, right? But you're still one of the guys. We give you that benefit of the doubt to get you into that office, right? And I say all the time, I gave him the benefit of the doubt clear through the first term. Any of his, center aisle bullshit that he was on, I'm like, yeah, he kind of got to play the game. He trying to give him a second term. I expected him to be more bullish about the things that he wanted in the second term. Once that didn't happen, I was completely done with dude. By the end of the 5th year, I was like, yeah, dude ain't shit. He ain't standing on nothing. Because I expected by the second term to come around, hell, Reverend Wright can be in the Oval with his feet kicked up for all I give a damn. Right? Yeah, I had to denounce my mans for a minute, but that's my partner though. We playing chess. So yeah, we play the chess game, but that's really my partner. And y'all ain't gonna make me not be cool with him for real. Like,
but I don't think we are playing chess.
No, clearly we weren't. I'm saying that was why I personally gave him the benefit of the doubt for the first 4 or 5 years of his presidency to say, okay, trying to get in office. Okay, he trying to get second term. Ain't no third term though, fam. So now why you capitulating? What you doing now?
But even the analogy of playing chess,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I play chess, right? And when you getting your ass kicked, sometimes you got to make a radical move, right? And that might be radically sacrificing something of extreme value to get about that jam.
Indeed.
It's just it's just how war operates, and that's what chess is, right? And in that vein, man, what I'm saying is that radical warrior energy that really might be the centerpiece to moving the masses toward revolution. Whatever revolution might look like. And I'm not saying physical revolution in the streets with guns and armor. I'm saying the revolution of the mind, right? So that Shannon doesn't have to answer that question in a capitulating way.
Right.
So Bron doesn't have to hide his friends. So we can all stand in our proper polarity. So we can all be Ali.
Right.
Right? Ali wasn't heralded till he was old and dying.
Right.
Right? And they did everything they could to do to that man to tear him down. Right? But even his greatest opponents in the ring respected him. And when he failed, they came to his aid because he represented what they did not. They knew his value outside the ring. Floyd Mayweather has never lost a fight. But he ain't no motherfucking Ali. He ain't gonna. I don't give a shit if he fought 20 more fights. He still ain't gonna be Ali.
Nah.
Right? Love Mike. Love Kobe. Right? What's going on with my mic, y'all?
Sounds great to me.
No, I keep going out of my headphones.
No.
They're never going to be Ali. They're just not. And it's not because of what they do on in their respective fields. It's because of what he did off the field. Right? He stood up in a manner that we don't see. That's why we herald him in his way, in the way that we do. Right? That shit looks like manhood. That shit has a intrinsic value that moves way beyond your capital. That shit moves way beyond the trophies. That shit moves way beyond the illusion of acceptance.
Right.
That legacy Ali leaves is real. Right? We're right now on a public airway questioning Obama's legacy already. This was the first black president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Satisfied.
Floyd Mayweather can't even retire fast enough before people are like, man, he ain't really shit.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So what value, if you really are embracing the concept of legacy, what's your real attachment to it? Is your legacy or is your value only attached to who you can afford? Or is your legacy attached to something else? It's the analogy I make about King and Malcolm. And Jay-Z. Who's going to be remembered longer? Jay-Z get all the money, Malcolm and King died broke. Who has the real value? I don't know, man.
I think when you talk about Mayweather or Ali, I think there's a satisfaction is directly linked to expectation. I mean, or Barack Obama, right? Or Ali. Satisfaction is directly linked to expectation. And the more you expect, the harder it becomes to feel satisfied with what you get. And I think that so much was expected of Barack Obama, and he fell so woefully short of those things for black people that satisfaction was impossible, right? Almost from the onset, but certainly with where he ended up. And
You think that?
do I think that the expectation was too high?
Yeah, and do you think that black people failed like Obama failed them? I think there's a small concentration of black people who are aware. And then I think the rest of us treat him like he's baby Jesus.
I didn't even address like how black people feel. I'm just saying that there was this expectation that he would do certain things, and that didn't happen. And so for me, satisfaction is impossible in that scenario, almost from the jump, but certainly with what he brought back. So, but then you juxtapose that to Muhammad Ali, who was at the peak of his public power or fame, or his platform was the largest in a time where you weren't really expecting black people to come out and pop off about white people. That's not really what you were expecting, right? You had these couple of these young ministers who were kind of leading these movements, but that wasn't the norm for to just be expecting black people to just be popping off about white people in that time. Nobody was really expecting that. So the fact that not only was Ali doing it, but he was doing it in such a way, in such a brash way, that people couldn't get enough of it, right?
Every
expectation level was here. What I get is here. I cannot get enough of that. Versus Barack, expectation level was here. What I got was here. I don't want any more of that. Fuck, dude.
Every movement that I can think of attached to the black civil rights movement, whether it be the movement of the 60s or the movement since we jumped off the ships in Jamestown, has been attached to some radical black brash motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Harriet Tubman was brash.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Nat Turner was brash. Fuck y'all.
Mm-hmm. That's what it takes, bro.
Right? Malcolm was brash. Fuck y'all. Stokely was brash. All of those movements, right, grew out of the arrogance of saying, I deserve to be full in my humanness.
And look, even that, just look at that, right? It's an arrogant thought to be like, I deserve to be full. You know what I mean? Like, I deserve to be a free, sovereign human being. Yeah. I got to be arrogant for that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely arrogant when you understand that you're operating from a powerless position. To believe that you can overcome that shit, it has to be attached to some level of ego.
You know what it is, though? As much as it is that, I just think it's gumption. I think you decided, like, fam, I don't know what's going to come of me behaving the way that I am behaving, but I can tell you for sure I'm not about to behave like that. I can tell you for sure I'm about to shut up and take your bullshit, right? So whatever comes from me saying fuck you, that it just comes, I can tolerate that. I can deal with that, right? Even if I pay if it costs me the ultimate sacrifice, it is what it is. I'm not about to live like that, and I don't know if that's arrogant so much as it is just like, yeah, like it's brave. I would say, right? There's a lot of gumption in that, but I don't know this. I don't know if they're like being arrogant. I think they're just like, man, I'm not finna.
It's arrogant, but it's arrogance. It's healthy arrogance. It's still arrogance, cause you got to know you at the bottom. It's water fountain say your ass can't drink here, and you said fuck you. Oh, you arrogant, but I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, quick story, man. My old man got diagnosed with a real rare form of cancer. He's sitting in the doctor's office with this doctor that's so fucking arrogant, right? And my mama's appalled. Oh, his energy is rubbing my mama all the way the wrong way.
Right.
My dad left out there and said, man, he that motherfucker arrogant. I want to be on his team. Fuck what you talking about, right? There's some value attached to ego, bro. It is. You know what I mean? But we don't leverage it in the right way. We leverage it as it's false ego. It's false arrogance. It's false confidence. Because we talk all that shit, like I said, until you run to them police, until you run to them school teachers,
right?
Until you run to that office and you got to get a job.
Right.
I'm affiliated with some official street guys in this city. Real friends. The minute, and they're rich in the context of black people, they're wealthy. right? But the minute they got to go do some business with some white folks downtown, they calling other people to help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that's of an innate fear,
That's real.
right? And I don't think that stops at the level of the street dude. But in the neighborhood, he's a gorilla. He's a silverback in the neighborhood,
Big facts.
right? But a poodle downtown.
Yeah.
Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Miss me.
That's a real thing. I think it takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of belief, a lot of not giving a damn to proceed and move in some of those ways. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about the new state's attorney in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we want to play that video too. 'Cause I fuck with that too.
He is showing a level of gumption and a level of I don't give a damn that is quite, I think it's unprecedented in this country. Now, I would have to go back and study that before I can be certain that it's unprecedented, but I don't recall seeing anybody do what this man has come into office and done. We're going to have that conversation on the other side of this break. This is I Said What I Said, Herb 2 till 6. We'll be right back.
Minding our black-owned business. I have a good friend with us this morning. I'm so excited. Jonathan Swain is here. KimParkBeverage.com. We tend to talk about business a lot. We both are in family businesses. Was this the plan? Because you are second-generation business owner.
Yeah. No, actually, I'll talk about it from my father's perspective, and I'll talk about it from my perspective. His perspective, he did not want me to be in this business. The liquor business has a sordid history. You know, they call it a sin business. I mean, it's less that now, but it had a very sordid history. He didn't want me to do this. He wanted me to go off to school. My father was the first person to fire me at 9 years old. I was supposed to be at work at 11 o'clock, and I showed up 5 minutes late, walked me outside, and fired me. And I'll never be late again. So I appreciate him for that. I walked home. My mother said, well, what happened? I said, Dad fired me. What happened? I was late. He said, well, you got fired. You're late. Can't be late. Told you to get up and leave. My side of it, in many ways, I have a very unique rearing experience in that I've never seen my father work a job. So when I was born, my dad was an entrepreneur. Growing up, I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to be in business doing something, controlling my own destiny in some ways. In particular, my father's generation relative to us, there's not a lot of information transfer about how that works. And there's not a lot of context. It's kind of, I'm going to keep you away from the struggles I had so you don't have them. But in not seeing the struggles, you don't know how to get through the struggles. But as I've gotten older and we developed a relationship and talked about it, I began to understand a lot of the bumps and the bruises and the challenges and what makes entrepreneurship and business ownership not for the weak and weary. All the success I've had in business has been a function of with my parents. As fortunate as I am and people look to my business story, there is no business story but for them and what they did. I mean, my dad was the first black business owner in Hyde Park in the 1970s. Hyde Park, though it's in welcoming and inclusive now, wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
There are a lot of stories that he would tell us about the challenges that he had being a black-owned business in Hyde Park back in the 1970s. That success comes from their legacy ultimately.
So what you see? See a bad mother.
WIFTBPM.
Doc said that ain't paranoia, that's anxiety. Either way, I can feel when people watching me. I don't know if it's the women or if it's the clothes. When I walk inside the room, these haters get exposed. I hit my dance on a hater, they don't like that. I've been grinding for a minute, fell into a bag. Had to sacrifice a lot to pop a couple tags. I done sacrificed a lot to pop a couple tags. Yeah, post-traumatic, ready for all the static. For the bird, I become addict. I jump in the trap like a rabbit. Pardon the cliche, but dummies ain't getting it these days. I'm leaving them all with the freeze face. Like, what did he really just tell me? Every other month I want 100 grand. Steady spinning like a ceiling fan. Habits you can never understand. Lost pops, I became the man. Had no choice, I had to represent. Life took him by his right hand. Haven't trusted nobody ever since. Doubt that I can never trust again. Doc said that ain't paranoia, that's anxiety. Either way, I can feel when people watching me. I don't know if it's the women or if it's the clothes. When I walk inside the room, these haters get exposed. I hit my dance on these haters, they don't like that. I've been grinding for a minute, fell into a bag. Had to sacrifice a lot to pop a couple tags. I done sacrificed a lot to pop a couple tags. Deeper than rap shit, the drama becoming so rapid. Try not to panic, I'm different, I'm able to manage. Smoke it on lean sip, when I said it go, man, I can't miss. Never see me not focused, third eye been open. Safe to say say I got my ish together. If it ever happened, then it's going down. Call me coach, but I don't play around. Got some issues and you know it now. Steady loading up the mind now. And I can leave my daughter, she the only child. Say the crazy tend to go around. I've been diagnosed for months now. Said that ain't paranoia.
What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back, family. We are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. My name is Herb Howard, my esteemed co-host. His name is Toussaint Warner, behind the glass in the production studio, doing all of the hard work. None other than Flo. Jerry Matthews, what's happening, good brother?
What's up, bro?
Ain't nothing to it, Flo. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. It's a good day. I feel like I've been handling my biz the start of this year, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Hey, per usual, on your grind, keeping it locked, man. Listen, over the break, I read a definition. Mary came through with a definition for arrogant, and it says exaggerating or disposed to exaggerate one's own worth or importance, often by an overbearing manner. And in reading that definition, I stand corrected. You're right. There's a level of arrogance in that.
Well,
right?
like I'm pretty, and
Right.
you still can't whoop me.
So when you talk about exaggerating one's own worth or importance, right? And you talking about that time, your worth was minimal, fam. Like in the full picture, right? Your worth was minimal. So to walk around acting like you worth.
Think about even in a smaller context when we was talking about Ali, right? If you study Ali at all, if you watched any of the films on Ali, like when he fought George Foreman, Ali was expecting his own self to get his ass whooped, right? So all that, you a clown, all that talking shit at George Foreman's training shit was psychological. Not just to scare George Foreman, but to also convince himself that I got a shot.
I'm trying to convince me.
I got a shot.
Yeah.
I got to sell me on this crazy shit.
Dog.
Could you imagine how crazy you would have to be to accept the positioning of Martin Luther King?
Right.
The positioning of Malcolm X?
How out your motherfucking mind you gotta
have
be.
to be crazy.
To think you can go up against this whole fucking country.
You got to know they're going to kill you.
Never mind if they're gonna kill you. To think that you can fucking do it.
But that's the height of fear. I know I'm going to get killed. So I got to convince myself that this is okay. Right? It's psychological though.
You think back to like being an athlete, right? Like
we scared to lose a couple dollars. Them men knew they was gonna lose their life.
Exactly.
They knew they was gonna lose their life. There's a book called 1968. And it's like it's Michael Eric Dyson, but he has some like interviews in there where he talked to people who was like with King the day before he died. And they was like, man, that whole week, Martin was having conversations like, yeah, it's gonna be the week.
He knew.
They're gonna get me this week.
The mountaintop speech, you knew, you heard it. You heard it when you're in that church. Like you're like, yeah, he knows. Like he knows that the end is near. Like, but you proceed anyway, bro. It's like, I'm telling you, Jesus, it's like going out to a game when you every fiber of your logical sense tells you they finna beat our motherfucking ass, right?
We going in the fight.
But right before that door kick open to that locker room, you in there trying to tell all these motherfuckers that we finna fuck them up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
don't
That's
you
how
lead it.
legacies is built though.
If you don't think we finna go out here and beat their ass, don't you leave this fucking locker room, right? We ain't come here to compete. We ain't come to keep it close. We finna fuck them up. Yeah, I know they got 3 All-Americans and 9 niggas that's All-State.
Hey, man. Stranger things has happened.
You know what I'm saying?
Riddick Bowe, and I'm sorry, no, Buster Douglas whooped Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Che Guevara defeated the Batistas.
You got
17 people.
You got to try to talk that shit, G.
Right?
You got to talk that shit.
Louverture defeated Napoleon.
Yeah.
None of that shit was supposed to happen. None of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I whooped Fat Tony. These things happened before. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta talk that shit, man. You gotta believe it. You have to convince yourself of this thing before. It's a scene in what was it? Kickboxing. One of the movies where what was the movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme took over the fight after he started fighting after his brother got paralyzed?
I don't watch none of them superhero white people movies.
It ain't a superhero movie. It's a fucking
No,
kickboxing
it's a
movie.
white savior movie. Anytime it's a white man whooping anybody else, I can't watch it. I want to see that shit.
God damn it, dude. You just can't with none of the shit. Like, Absolutely none of it. I can't.
He whooped everybody ass. I ain't watching that.
Nah. Okay, never mind. Point is, the movie start. His brother is the baddest dude fighting. Right. His brother been beating people ass all over the world.
Okay.
They go to fight some remote area. They going to fight this dude named Tom Poe. Right. Tom Poe is this big, tall, stout looking motherfucker. Not a super cut, just tall and like super fucking cut up.
Mm-hmm.
And before the fight, his brother, Jean-Claude Van Damme's brother, he tell him like, "Hey, go get me some ice," right? So he like, "All right, I go get the ice." He take the bucket, go down the hall, he get the ice, right? He come back from the ice. Now they in there, they popping their shit. We good, we ready. We been fucking people up. As Van Damme is coming back with the ice bucket, he hears this sound.
Q said kickboxer. That's
Yeah,
the name of the movie.
Yeah, it's as he's coming back with the ice bucket, he hears this sound, and the sound is like boom, 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 boom. So he like, what the fuck is that, right? And so he starts walking towards it, and he realizes it's the other dude's locker room, right? So as he walks in there, the door is open. And he's steady hearing the sounds getting louder and louder as he's getting there. He finally gets to the door where he can see what's going on. It's Tom Poe in there kicking the fucking pillar in the fucking in the room, just hanging in the middle. He's just kicking that shit down and knocking sawdust from the fucking ceiling.
Legs are still.
Right? Boom. Just
Feeling no pain.
Kicking the fuck out of it. So Tom Poe, he see him at the thing. Tom Poe look up, and he's just weird, crazy looking motherfucker. He don't got no hair, except he got a long ass ponytail. He look up, he see him looking at him. He just stare at him. Kick that shit again. Boom. Van Damme go back to the room. He like, listen, bro. Hey, listen, this ain't healthy. He like, maybe. Maybe we shouldn't go out there and fight, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, what you talking about? I'm the best there. He's like, listen, I just walked down the hall. He said, the dude, his English ain't that. He's like, the dude, he's kicking the fucking thing like this. And he like, his brother like, so what? Can he move like me? Is he fast like me? No, he can't. We good. So an hour later, when he's getting carried out on the stretcher, paralyzed. That's it. Paralyzed.
Tom Poe got that ass.
What? Huh? Tom Poe kicked him down, so he down on all fours. Tom Poe look at Van Damme again, walk up to his brother, elbow his fucking spine in half. Boom! Split his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
so then Van Damme becomes a superhero white man.
Van Damme becomes
beats
superhero.
Tom Poe eventually.
Come back
fuck
and
that
eventually
movie.
beats Tom Poe.
Fuck that movie.
Yes.
I ain't watching that movie.
Yes.
Fuck that movie.
But my point is, G, you talk
Fuck
yourself into some shit in the face of all reason. Like the reason, like bro, I'm your brother, I'm your best friend. I just told you he's in there kicking the fucking wall down, fam. We don't gotta do this. We can go back home right now. Fuck it. Nah, man, he can't do this. Okay. You're never walking out of here again, literally.
Hey, man.
Like,
you gotta leave it all on the battlefield sometimes, though.
You do.
You know what I'm saying?
You do.
Risk versus reward. You gotta roll the dice. It is what it is. If you don't roll the dice, you guaranteed to lose.
That's a fact, man.
You know what I'm saying? Shooter knows every shot, you're gonna miss every shot you don't take. That's just part of the game.
That's a fact, man.
You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
That's just part of the game. I know you wanted to get into this clip.
Yeah, man.
That is newly elected state's attorney up out of Philly.
Yeah, man.
And I think this is interesting too, just in the context of the paradigm of our own state's attorney and how she's always seemingly threatened. And I'm gonna be 100% like, I don't know Kim Foxx personally. I've met her a few times, but I wouldn't say I know her.
Right.
But from afar, man, I'm a huge fan. I think she's eloquent in her speech. I think she's beautiful in the way that she communicates her message, and from the way she leverages that office, she's for our people, and I always respect that.
Agreed.
But when I saw this, I was like, man,
do more.
What if she had the audacity to pull some shit like this? You know what I mean?
He's an old white man.
That's true.
She's a young black woman.
That's true, and I give it his credence. You know what I mean? But I still love her for the way she represents herself and holds that office down.
Yeah.
But this just was like beautiful.
This is next level shit right here.
I'm connected over there?
You are. I got the video playing. You're going to have to start it back.
All right.
Of people employed by the district attorney's office were shown the door today. Newly sworn in District Attorney Larry Krasner began the new year with a clean slate and a plan to reform the office. Eyewitness News reporter Alexandria Hall has the very latest from the district attorney's office in Center City. Alex?
Yuki, a source at the DA's office had told me that a mass dismissal of employees was something that they had feared since election night. They just were not quite sure when that day would come. with stacks of cardboard boxes. Dozens of Philadelphia's assistant district attorneys and other employees were turned out into the cold. Those who exited told Eyewitness News that they had been collectively dismissed. After decades of service, one now former ADA found it too emotional to talk.
I've been proud.
These layoffs come just 4 days after Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner was sworn into office.
A movement was sworn in today.
As a candidate, Krasner promised change and reform for an
4
office
days.
shuttered by the corruption
Fuck everybody.
conviction of his
4 days,
predecessor,
man.
Seth Williams. Krasner's legal history includes 75 lawsuits against police and government agencies. This woman has a case that's being prepared by an assistant district attorney. She arrived to the DA's office to discuss and instead found
They fired all the DAs. I'm upset, very upset. I'm irate.
How they
where
use
that
her?
leaves her case. She's not quite sure. Where it leaves her,
It doesn't leave me anywhere but sitting with the DA on Monday. That's where it leaves me at. But what he did to these district attorneys in here today, that was sad.
See how they use
a
her and shouldn't even
statement from the
fucking know it.
Philadelphia District Attorney's Office
Let that
reads
go.
in
No, let it go.
part, DA Larry Krasner has long promised to bring culture change to the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. This includes a broad reorganization of the structure of the DAO. As part of that process, 31 DAO employees were asked to resign from their positions today, effective immediately. That statement also includes DA Krasner thanking those 31 employees for their service, adding that remaining colleagues will take on their caseload. A request for an interview was declined. Reporting live from the DA's office, Alexandria Hoff, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
So real quick,
With
you
boxes
see
in
how
hand.
they before we get into the conversation of it, you see how they use the black lady?
I think that's part of the conversation.
I think that her case was irrelevant to what the news story was, right? So I don't even know what her case is, right? But what the news story was about is about this dude coming in and removing 31 people out of the state's attorney's office that have been linked to, you know, some type of injustice or something like that, some type of corruption. Right? And he got all of them out. Now, why y'all go find this black lady who's upset because she came down to talk about a case about who knows what, and somebody has to be assigned that case. She can't talk to that person because they got fired today. Sure, that's an inconvenience to her, but it ain't got shit to do with the story at hand. But they kind of tied in just because it looks good. Let's get a black woman, right, to say that she's not with what just happened. She don't even really know what just happened. You know what I'm saying?
She know they got fired.
Right, but she don't really know. She showed up there to talk to the motherfucker. So whatever happened just fucking happened. She don't know what's going on. But y'all put on the camera now, oh, we got a black woman who don't like what happened. She don't even know what happened. You know what I'm saying? She's just pissed that she came downtown to meet with somebody who got fired today. I get it. It's an inconvenience to her. But to put her on and to use it as though she is somehow in opposition of what the fuck is happening, it's bullshit. Just media doing what media does.
Media does do what media does, but media is part of the plan.
Exactly.
Right? Part of the strategy. So the sister sitting there saying, hey, man, I don't know. All I know is that this is sad.
Right. All I know is I came down here to see this damn DA and he got fired.
Right. But he moved them people out there. What do you say? This is a movement. You elected a movement. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm moving your corrupt ass up my way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get the fuck out.
And I don't know much about the cat, but 75 lawsuits against police and government.
That says if you didn't file 75 lawsuits against the police and government officials,
you on some stand up shit.
right.
She's just operating off some emotional shit.
Right.
Sounds like Chucks and Pearls to me. Sounds exactly like Chucks and Pearls to me.
Well, I'm gonna leave her out of it. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and just say she didn't even know.
But how many people was wearing Chucks and Pearls and don't know? So I get what you're saying, but I'm saying it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
Right. We are all operating on the same wavelength where we moving off this emotional shit, and we always talking this. I'm playing chess, not checkers. You ain't in the game, fam.
Right.
You're not. You don't even know how to play chess. Stop. If you don't know how to play chess, don't say that shit no more. Don't say it.
That's real spill.
Say some shit you know how to play.
Right.
You play spades. You know what I'm saying? Get out of it. Miss me with that.
3 in the possible, fam.
3 in the possible.
I feel you. I don't want to go too deep with that. I give the sister a pass. I think she was just upset that her morning wasn't going as she had planned for her morning to go. What about the dude? What? I didn't forget his name. Jerry Cranston. What's his name? Give me a second.
It was one of them Krishners.
It's not Krasner. Larry Krasner. Larry Krasner is his name. Larry Krasner. He is the district attorney of Philadelphia. How you feel about Larry Krasner?
By itself, a force when they're together.
Oh my God!
I couldn't help it.
That's good. I like it. I think that Larry Krasner is showing a level of gumption that I think is unseen. I don't think we've seen this before.
I think we're moving in an interesting time, man. And
4 days.
But see, here's the dynamic, right? We had these conversations and we have them from a black perspective. It's the context of blackness, right? It's the context in which we live our lives in, right? But even outside of the context of blackness, bro, America's going through transition, right? And it's transition that is shaking the shit out this country, right? And because we always fucking shit, it don't resonate with us the same way.
Truth.
Right? We've always kind of figured our way out through poverty. You know what I mean? We've always figured our way out through struggle. We've always kind of take the least of thee and make it a delicacy. You know what I'm saying? We've always had to figure out how to live with less, right? And then probably since the boomer generation, less is a matter of perspective. It's the shit you always say, the illusion of inclusion.
Right.
You get beyond them baby boomers, the black life in America beyond them baby boomers was some shit that we seemingly we don't even think. We can't even fathom what kind of life that was for black people. You know what I mean? When we talk about the past, it don't really pretty much go past the 50s. I don't even think it go to the 50s. I think it stops kind of in the 60s.
That's real.
Right? But you get to black life before the baby boomer generation, i.e. 1939. Oh, that was some different shit. You know what I mean? Like that you might not have had a bathroom in your house type of deal. You know what I'm saying? You was living in some almost slave kind of conditions. Like we're not that far removed from slavery, you know? So when we always had these harkening back conversations, it don't really pretty much go past the 60s, right? But now, and then think about it, that's black poverty, right? But in that, we got to account for white wealth and what white poverty looked like as well. You know what I mean? Because capitalism hadn't transpired in the way it's transpiring now, right? It's aggressively moving toward the 1%, right? And we're aggressively moving away from a labor state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no need for no labor. We got computers that can do everything, right? My homie Chris is on the comments talking shit right now. But Chris got a Tesla that could drive to you if you get lost. It's going to drive to you. You know what I mean? Once that technology hits the market and AI starts to take over jobs, and we don't got jobs now, so we like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? But when it starts to take over jobs, and the white dude who 10, 15 years ago could graduate high school, go to work at Quaker Oats, and have enough money to take care of his family, create a world where his children could probably go to college if they wanted to, right? Possibly invest a little money, have the cars for the family, have the house, and live comfortably. Ain't gonna get a retirement fund.
Yeah,
that America is disappearing in front of their face.
Yeah, we saw it on Saturday. We talked about the car wash in terms of economics and just the sheer numbers that it was doing. But what we didn't mention yesterday when we was talking about it is the fact that it was one motherfucker working that car wash. You know what I'm saying? So while they had the steady stream of cars going through and making cash hand over fist, it was only paying one person. That's it. It's somebody at the beginning of that thing hit the little button for you. Wasn't nobody else there. And so, you know, you get these automated systems that are able to run themselves. You don't got to pay them. You put them in place one time. You get one employee there to kind of oversee it.
Ain't no healthcare attached to that shit. Ain't no days off attached to that shit.
Ain't nothing to it. And this car wash is just ringing in dough all day long, and there's one person there. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So,
right. I just had a guy come make a key for my other car. He was telling me how Cadillac, the OnStar, well, I won't even say Cadillac, but the OnStar system. He was like, at this point now, man, you could call in the OnStar if your car stopped on the road, and they could diagnose your car from wherever they are, and get it back up and running.
It's bananas, ain't it?
We don't need mechanics. We don't need people.
No.
So with that being, that brings
Now,
back
now,
the
your,
conversation.
now your mechanic got on a tie and some glasses or a lab coat or some shit.
Right, super clean hands.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, but that brings back the context of the conversation and how we don't understand it, right? But when you start thinking about Andrew Yang running for president, he was talking about universal basic income. That's real. That world is here already.
I want my mechanic with a red polyester rag hanging out of his back pocket with oil grease all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Kenneth Steele said, trucking almost automated in Arizona. It's going to be automated across this country.
Yeah, bro.
Right? All of it is going to be automated. Them self-checkouts at the grocery store, that's automation.
Yes.
Right? Think about this, man. We
All
go
the
to the
bank
gas station,
tellers
we don't
and lack
even go
thereof.
in the gas station. We put our card in the machine, we keep it pushing. Right?
Yeah.
My parents' generation, people come out and pump your gas for you.
Right.
Right? These are all, think about this. I was in Portland not too long ago, right? And I'm going to say this. I fuck with Portland. Portland is a white bastion. It's not for black people at all. But I think about the philosophy of Portland, and I fuck with it, right? And it's beautiful, right? But in Portland, they don't operate for chain stores to open up. So ain't no McDonald's. You don't see none of that shit. Ain't none of that shit. Burger King, none of that shit. It's all local ownership. And that's how they keep wealth circulating in their community. They don't allow for franchises to come there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to essentially seep all the wealth out of our communities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And that's how they keep Portland wealthy and white and the white bastion it is.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the businesses are local and it's still stuff like that. Right? It's certain, they do still, you go to the gas station in Portland, somebody will still come out and pump your gas. It's a legitimate.
Yeah, now you still got places
it's
where
a legitimate job.
self-serve, yeah. I mean, full service, I said self-serve.
Yeah,
I
but
meant
the
full
vast
service.
majority of this country don't move like that.
No.
You know what I mean? So they just essentially robbing the wealth. They're excavating the wealth out of every community, not just our community. Now, we get it the worst because we just at the bottom of the totem pole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and my plight is about us and not nobody else. In the conversation of power, you don't really matter to me.
Right.
It's my group, and fuck your group. You know what I mean? Wish you well, but not my interest.
Yeah, the group don't even register to me.
Yeah, so it's in that context, man. Seeing that paradigm in Portland was like inspirational in a lot of ways. Like, damn, they really pulling this shit off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's the same capacity with us. We got to move in the same manner. You know, but as the rest of the world starts, the belt has to get tighter and tighter because poverty's coming for your ass too. Because the wealth don't have any limitations, right? It's like a catfish in a pond, man. It's gonna eat till it explodes unless something else kills it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just greedy.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And greed has no barrier. And part of our issue and part of the rest of America's issue is that we've created a country full of consumers. We're all greedy, right? But we don't produce shit.
Yeah.
Because we're lazy and ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
So all we want is things.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we even appreciate, right? We appreciate destinations, not journeys.
More
And when
things.
you don't appreciate the journeys, you don't learn how to produce because all you want is then go.
Give me more things.
It's just what it is.
Give
right?
me more
So we
things.
got this whole nation of consumers, and over time, just like that big catfish,
Right.
I'm still eating. Right? And what's happening is those who usually got a little bit more on their plate are starting to recognize the scarcity. You know what I mean? And the very nature of racism in itself, the very nature of the white man in not just America, but on the planet, it operates in fear based in scarcity. So when we see them white boys come storm the Capitol, if you did a background check on the vast majority of those white boys who stormed the Capitol, I guarantee you're gonna come up with Iowa, Oregon, Nebraska, all these places that don't no longer have any industry.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, man, what the fuck?
What's going on?
I can't survive here.
Yeah,
because
boy.
as that digital space comes in, it's San Francisco, Chicago, New York. What the fuck I want to be in Iowa for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
But they're ignorant too. They don't realize that the very same people that they are so loyal to and so beholden to are the very same people who sent all of those United States jobs and corporations overseas because it's cheaper, right? I can make more billions of dollars that way. So all these big companies and all these, devout Republicans and all that shit, these motherfuckers are so loyal to. They're the people who took all your shit away, fam. Like, black people ain't took shit from you. Mexicans ain't took shit from you. How the fuck we gonna take something from you? You know what I'm saying? Like, your people taking your shit. They don't get it, man. They really don't seem to kind of understand exactly where that piece is coming from. But it is what it is with them people, man.
Yeah, but I rock with my man's audacity, Jim. Like to come in and say, hey man, day 4, get the fuck on out of here.
Y'all got to the end of the week. Get y'all shit, fam.
Yeah, I rock with that kind of gumption. You know, I would appreciate that from our politicians. I would appreciate, that from any level of our community in a lot of ways. Because that's not really how we go into any conversation. Our thought is usually, how do I find my space in this building? You know, how do I find my level of comfort, right? And the reality of it is that we got to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. You know, if we have a larger goal than just pat in my pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, that's a hard conversation to have because even at the lowest level, pad in our pocket puts us in the top 1% of black earners, specifically from a politician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Alderman gonna get that hot 120, and he starts looking around the rest of his community, and he's like,
That 120 look good, Jack.
Shit, I'm the king.
King around here.
Right? I'm making $120, and I get off work at noon. You know what I mean? And then think about the transactional nature of just the rest of our community, and partially because we're so poor, and our survival is dependent on our ability to negotiate our lives, right? So that alderman, let's say you a man, right? You got that 120, you get out work at noon, you could probably, let's say you got 120, you a man. My old man used to hit me with this, now I'm just going to offend a woman, but I don't care. My old man said, if you spend $5,000 a year with a woman, she'll be elated. She'll be, in perpetuity, she'll be confined to whatever your rule is, right? Now you adjust for inflation, right? So you about a 10 grand a day. 10 grand ain't no money.
No, it's not.
Right? And I'm talking about for a year, and it's about how you spend it, right? Take your ass on a trip somewhere. Oh, this nigga.
3 bands.
You know what I'm saying? Quick 3 bands. It did. You know, spending G here, spending G there. You the shit.
You know, bunch of dinners dispersed throughout the year.
You just got to manage it well.
Couple few little gifts.
You just got to manage it well, right? So here's this dude with the 120. He could probably do that with 3 women.
A cotton note.
You know what I'm saying? Just here and there. Not even for the year. Just here and there. Just say, take care of yourself, baby. You know what I'm saying? He king. He chief of that demonstration. And he recognizes that.
That's why I told you yesterday, Friday, that nobody looks down upon dudes when they tricking off. You just said he can comfortably trick off 30 bands. No problem. He can comfortably trick 30,000, and now he got 3 women beholden to his every beck and call.
Yeah, it happens. Right? But that becomes his value asset too, though.
Sure.
Right? How many times can I go to Francis's and be the guy? You know what I mean? You go to their offices and they had that little chick that used to be at the bar at Francis's now working at the front desk in their offices. This ain't no new. And I'm not just talking hypothetically. We can go to a lot of these aldermen's offices and see the chick who was in Francis at the bar. We can do that today. You understand me? This is not no hypothetical. This is happening.
God, why are you? Hey, you getting too close? All right.
I don't care.
Be cool.
Okay.
Be cool,
And
bro.
this ain't just one story though.
Hey, but specifically, you get too close.
I don't care. Take it how you want. You know what it is.
I do know what it is. Be
Right?
cool, man.
You know what it is. So we can supplement Francis's for whatever bar you want to put in there.
Yeah, fix it where.
But you know what it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? So when you're in that position, it's like I'm the king of my area. Why should I have a larger goal of the people? And then when you think about the people who elect you, because we're operating off some name recognition or some ignorance, we keep reelecting you. Right? I've had, first of all, like just from the aldermanic perspective.
Sure.
Right? You don't need a degree to be an alderman. Right? If you think about some of the wards in Chicago, like I think Hyde Park is one of the most diverse wards, and it's a money ward. I think you need like 10,000 votes to win. You know what I mean? You get outside of Hyde Park and then think about Hyde Park. Hyde Park is the capital of the South Side. Like University of Chicago's there. That's the money of the South Side. They the mayor of the South Side.
DTHP,
Right.
downtown Hyde Park. That's hilarious to me.
You
Sorry.
think about the surrounding areas of Hyde Park. You know, the other wards. You get one good church, you elected, man. You get 2,000 people to vote for you, you won.
You good money.
2,000.
Yes, sir.
That's one church.
Yes, sir.
For a dude or a woman who doesn't have a degree. And I'm not saying the degree validates you either. Don't confuse me. What I'm saying is, but you can get into this gig like Burger King.
I get you.
You understand what I'm saying? It's the same qualifications.
I get you.
Right? And you get appointed to a gig that gives you $120 grand a year, which puts you in the top 1% of black income earners in America. I've had conversations with City of Chicago, all the men and all the women, who I know can't complete a coherent sentence in conversation. And that's in speaking. So how they would write would scare the shit out of me.
This is what you got to do. You got to get them at the bars, like you was talking about, right? Just get them at the bar, man. And they can't wait to drink with you anyway, right? So they want to sit and drink. Oh, sit down. Can I have a drink? I got it, right? First of all, they can't wait to put this on their fucking account.
So you said I was getting too close. So just be clear. I don't hang out at the bar. So the story you're telling is what now?
A hypothetical.
Okay.
A hypothetical.
I'm here for it though.
It's hypothetical. It happens to repeat itself from time to time. But they can't wait. They want to buy all the drinks. They're gonna expense that shit anyway. Oh, they give me a reason to use this damn card. Cool. They talk, because that's what they do. They talk they fucking asses off. So they talk, and then now they getting a little tipsy. It's like, and then they start getting close to you. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Look, this just me and you talking, right? And then you start hearing the wildest shit ever. It's like, bro, you niggas is nuts, okay? All of y'all crazy as fuck. Like, no, this is nah, fam, crazy as hell, right? And then they start name dropping. It's like, all right, fam, you should go. you should go. You get up out of here and bounce, fam. But yeah, man, you catch them.
Yeah. As a young boy, man, one of my partners used to go get the dope and the girls for them boys.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was his gig.
Yes.
You know what I mean,
bro?
So I know it. I know how they moving, right? But and again, I don't even want to sound. I know that comes off as being very judgmental. Everybody got their vices. Everybody got their ills, right? I don't give a shit about none of the dope or none of the girls.
You know I don't give a shit.
Right? But hold your positioning. If you're going to be a representative or a public servant, be that.
I happen to know a large distributor in the Huntons, right? A bunch of people hang out there at this place, and at any given time, you walk in this place, the people that you would see in that motherfucker will kind of blow you.
Wouldn't believe it.
It'll kind of blow you.
Wouldn't blow me. I know it.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They in there in their jeans and whatever, and they regular, but it's like, yo, and they just all night just drinking.
And I went to Springfield for the governor's inauguration.
Yeah.
This was elderly Freaknik.
I'm telling you, the shit be wild, dog.
It was elderly people Freaknik.
Shit be wild, dog.
I couldn't believe it.
You stick around like at the go to like one of them fucking fundraisers or something, and then just hang around at the end. Jesus Christ. Like, the shit that comes out of people's mouth after they done had them, after this open bar been open for 3 hours. All right. Like, get these people out of here before state secrets start flying.
But then you add context to that conversation,
Uh-huh.
right? And it becomes an alley conversation that you have in the garage with your boys or a conversation you have on the porch, right? Who usually becomes the police from our community? It usually be the guy that was probably punked or bullied in the first place, right?
Revenge of the
I've
nerds.
never had the power to kind of stand in my polarity and be a man. So now I got this uniform that says I'm the man.
Right.
I got a gun. I can take your life. I have backup.
big folks.
I have power now.
Right.
Right? It's also the same thing with the people who run for office. I'm not going to say I don't want to paint with a broad brush.
Of
right?
course
But
there
what
are exceptions.
it's always exceptions, right? But I also recognize, too, that these were the people who was probably nerds. Right? And nothing against a nerd.
No,
You know what
nerds is cool.
I rock with nerds.
You finna get a black nerd show on What's In For The Black People Media.
I rock with it, right? So probably was nerds. Probably
Blurds.
had a parental advisor that stayed in their butt to get them focused enough to get through school in the way they got through school, or just be at least upstanding in some manner. You know what I mean? They get to the position, have a little bit of power or assume power, right? Probably never was the kind of guy or woman who had that kind of, was able to move through the community in that way. And now you got freedom to do so. Now you're the king, right? It's peacocking, right? It's look at my feathers. And I'm not mad at that, right? I'm not. I don't care. If you're going to show up as a public servant, be a public servant. Problem is we got stuck in the peacocking. So when we come down for the inauguration, and this is my first time in Springfield in that manner,
Right.
I was confused as hell. Like, what is this, fam?
The hell is
this
going
is how
on?
y'all.
This
This
how
is
y'all
what
move?
this is.
Absolutely. That's
This
how
is
it
an
goes.
embarrassment.
We work half a day. We drink the other half. Like, what you want from us, fam?
Yeah, that's real. It was an embarrassment, though.
Yeah.
It was an embarrassment. But it's also the same conversation, right? Those who are
Reality.
usually worthy to lead don't come to the calling. Those are those people who seek power run to the calling.
It's set up that way for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's set up that way for a reason. They don't want people that's really about that action to be in those positions. So they make it, one, undesirable for you to be in that position, and two, in many ways, unattainable for you to be in that position. And it works well. It works well for them, man. You said something earlier about, you know, people just being so greedy. You know what I'm saying? By nature, just more. And it brought me back to a phrase my mom used to say, like y'all gonna eat me out of house and home. That's what she used to say. Y'all gonna eat me out of house and home. And when I hear that analogy, it makes me think about like alligators, right? And you get an alligator in like one small body of water, and it'll become like the dominant alligator. And if it's greedy, it'll literally eat itself out of house and home, to where you end up fucking starving yourself because you were so damn greedy. You ate everything in this motherfucker.
Same thing with the catfish. That's why I use the catfish analogy. Same thing, right? Yeah, and they bottom feeders, so they just don't stop.
Yeah, you just keep going, and so there's nothing left in here, and you gotta fucking starve because your
ass. That's why gluttony is one of the deadly sins,
right?
You know what I mean? But that's the very nature of capitalism, right? It just doesn't stop. It keeps going until there's nothing left. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. That's why it fails every 80 to 90 years.
It eats itself.
It eats itself. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? And what we're right now is experiencing that 85th, 86th, 87th year. Yeah. Right? We're seeing it in happening. But it goes back to how our government operates as well. Right? So we think we've elected this new administration, and it's all about emotionalism, though. Right?
Ooh.
It's emotionalism. Because at its core, that new administration represents the same neoliberal white philosophy that's been happening for the past 85, 86, 87 years.
Truth.
Right?
Truth.
And when it gets more and more aggressive, that line gets pushed toward the power, right? And the power is white folks. So when we say the left and the right, there's no left because the power's all over here protecting their money. So when Obama comes in as a centrist, he was really a centrist right because the left has been is gone. We don't give a shit about you people, man.
Nah.
We're protecting our interests.
That's it.
And because of the context of whiteness and how it works in this system, that power is associated and attached to racism in a lot of ways. Capitalism, racism, bedfellows. Right? It just is. So when we talk about the presidency being Burger King, right? The manager's just changing. The menu don't. It's still Burger King.
Same shit.
Right? So part of that man polarity that I talk about and just being radical in your thought, you better be. Because ain't nobody else looking out for your interests. Because it's not a game about equity or equality. It's not a game about care.
Nobody
There's
cares.
no feelings attached to this.
Nobody cares, man. There's another video I kind of want to play, and I'm a little hesitant to play this video because I don't know the validity of the video. I don't know how true it is, man. I sent it to your Instagram inbox, I think. And it's talking about like these radical plans for dealing with overpopulation on the earth, and who's at the forefront of these conversations? Yeah, that thing. Right. What'd you say?
You said who's at the forefront of the operation?
Yeah.
Was it Bill?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bill Gates. Yeah. Like, and so I just want to play this clip so you can hear what these people are talking about. It's a brother that kind of introduces it. He ain't gonna talk for that long. He gonna kind of get to the point. But I just want to play this clip a little bit in terms of the selfishness and everything, that the greed that goes into this, and some of the extreme ideas that they are willing to enact.
People are saying in this video about killing black people and killing Africans. Now, you think your government ain't trying to kill you. You think your government love you. You think the president and all this stuff gonna fix all your problems. We the only one that can fix our problems. Listen to what these people are saying about their plans for killing black people and killing Africans. Listen.
It's for the purpose of sterilization and population control. There's too many people on the planet we need to get rid of. In the words of Bill Gates, at least 3 billion people need to die. So we'll just start off in Africa. We'll start doing our research there, and we'll eliminate most of the Africans because they're deplorable. They're worthless. They're not part of this world economy. So they have their rights taken away, and they're suppressed and they're experimented.
And the multilateral agencies and the health and regulatory so-called authorities and agencies appear in the main to have become weaponized and appear, I again use the word appear advisedly, we're not casting judgments here, we're taking depositions, listening to expert testimony.
There's too many people on the planet. In the words of Bill Gates, 3 billion people need to die and we'll just start off in Africa. Are you, first of all, you got cities of just land. There's not too many people on the planet. You got cities of just vacant land. You get what I'm saying? New York City got almost, how much people in New York City? Living on top of each other. I'm not saying that's the way people need to live, but the world is not overpopulated. They don't want black people on the planet. They don't want people with my skin complexion, your skin complexion on the planet. They killing you for your organs. They killing you for the mineral. They killing you for the melanin that's in your body. But they trying to say that it's overpopulated. So if it's overpopulated, how about y'all get the fuck off the planet? How about y'all go back in them goddamn caves where y'all used to come from? You get what I'm saying? Listen to these people. In the words of Bill Gates. Bill Gates has brought up all his farmland. Bill Gates got the most farmland in the world right now. How is it too many people on the planet? Bill Gates stole Microsoft from Steve Jobs. Bill Gates is a thief, a liar. He's been killing children in Africa and Asia for years, experimenting on them with vaccinations and vaccines. Now he's trying to block out the sun. And these people talking about, in the words of Bill Gates, like he's some doctor, like he's some physician, like he's some scholar. This man is a criminal. He's a killer. He's a murderer. But they want to kill us. They want to exterminate us. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better wake up and smell a coffee. I'm telling you, it's about to get real on this planet. If we ain't sticking together, then we're gonna be killing each other, trying to fit into their system. They gonna make it so.
Just off the fact that you believe that they have these types of conversations, and again, the video is a little sketchy to me, but I certainly don't put it past them, right? And so when I hear that video, when I see that video and hear that audio, it's like, yeah, I can see them being on that completely. I can see them 100% being on that, right? I'm not convinced that they didn't just try to see how many motherfuckers they can get rid of right now, like with this fucking COVID shit. I'm not convinced that they weren't just trying to let's just throw a round of this out and see how the world responds if we just throw shit out of whack for a year. See what that looks like.
Man, Bill been talking about this for almost a decade now. People who sit at the table with him,
Yeah.
all they sit and talk about is population and how they can modify DNA and merge it with artificial intelligence. Like that's just what all they talk about.
Yeah.
All that money.
Yeah.
This is what they doing with it.
Yeah.
And you wondering why it's thousands of people coming up missing.
Yeah. Listen, man, if you had unlimited resources, financially speaking, and influence, politically speaking, I would spend, and you've been rich as he's been for as long as he's been, I spend all that time trying to figure out how I can not die. Like, and so I'll be running every fucking experiment too. Just run an experiment. Let me see how long I could be around. I got the best life around. I don't ever want this to end. Fuck going to heaven. This is heaven. Right? You know what I'm saying? Heaven is right fucking here. I'm trying to do this shit forever.
It's the Rockefeller story, right? Mm-hmm. How many hearts did that man get? He got like 6 hearts or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, right? As men, we got to decide what polarity we gonna operate in. You know what I mean? I don't know the validity of that video we just watched.
Right.
I don't know what that's from, who those white folks is talking. I don't know none of that.
Right.
Now, the argument of the conversation isn't a new argument of conversation, right? Population control is part of the dynamic. It just is, right? But when I listen to that, it forced me to harken back to Mugabe, Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe, right? President of Zimbabwe from like, I don't know, maybe 86, 87 to like 2017. Full out G, right? And we think about how Africa was colonized the way it was, right? And one point, Mugabe said, hey, white folks, I don't give a fuck if you paid for that land or if you stole that land. Get the fuck off it. It's mine now.
Beat it, fam.
Beat it. Get your ass about my country. It's that simple. All that don't mean nothing to me, man. In the robbery, who's in control? The guy with the big wallet or the guy with the big gun? It's just, you just got to decide what team you playing for, man.
Like, all these fucking rules and shit don't really mean nothing, fam. Like they don't really mean nothing. It don't really control or dictate your behavior unless you allow it to. You do whatever the fuck you want, for real. Like, you can do whatever you want, for real.
Can you whoop my ass, though, is not the moniker for fun. It's a real statement.
It's a real question.
It's a real statement.
Like,
it's a real statement. How far are you willing to go? And what we see is the oppositional force is willing to go exceedingly far.
Right.
They've done it. They've proved it, which is why we are harnessed in the fear, because we've seen them done it and prove it, right? There's a reason why they hung niggas in the middle of town square. It was a marketing tool. They wanted you to see it. They wanted you to fear it. There's a reason why they burned them at a stake. There's a reason why they tarred and feathered them. There's a reason why they treated you in the manner that they treated you. And what we can see is 267 years later, after that treatment, treatment specifically, it still resonates in our gene pool. That's why you go down south, and not even sometimes down south, but white people walk down the street, black people put their head down. Still,
oh yeah, for
today,
sure. Scared to look them in the eye.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, boss. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Still today. It's why even not down south, when XYZ job calls you and you get on the phone, hey, how are you doing? You know, you change the tone of your voice. Right? You start to enunciate words different. Right? What's that got to do with how well you do a job? It don't, man. It's got to do with your fear of that polarity of masculinity, so you start to capitulate. Homie, ain't no room for that no more. 'Cause they don't even care no more. They needed you at that time, right? They needed you to flip burgers. They needed you to count change at the grocery store. They needed you to drive a cab, right? They need you to play football. They need you to sing and shuck and jive. They needed you. Think about this, G. We think about the popularity of T-Pain, which turned into the popularity of Future, which turned into the popularity of everybody else who monetized off of that sound.
Dog, she got me.
But what that sound was manipulated by what? AI.
Got me.
Anybody, I could go in the studio and sound just like T-Pain. I'm not being funny. It don't take talent, because the sound was manipulated by automated engineering. Right? So you can't even dance a jig for him no more, G. It don't matter. We don't need you. We see what happens when Justin Bieber becomes Justin Bieber, right? When Eminem becomes Eminem. When those people master, or at least can compete in our genres of music, they dominate us in regards to capital, right? Because they're going to invest and support their people. And if they can find their people, they can at least be the court jesters, which we've served for them, then you really don't have any value. So you better decide what you gonna do
right now. Make a decision, fam.
Because they letting you know we don't need you.
Seen they had that robot.
What they call that shit? Blue-eyed soul. Word. Well, how many niggas you know Blue Eyes? Fuck out of here, fam.
Seen they rolled that Blue-eyed soul. That's interesting. They rolled that robot out at like halftime of like a basketball game. Robot was shooting threes.
Cash.
Robot hit like 20. Robot hit like 20 straight threes.
20 in a row.
Couldn't miss.
Like
literally.
From wherever on the court.
I literally cannot miss.
I can't miss.
There's an equation that's been put in that's going to take this basketball to a certain quadrant, like send me the quadrants. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can't miss, fam. You know, watch me hoop. Steph Curry ain't got shit on me, fam.
Push the button. Cash. Right? Think about the shorties, right? My son is a basketball player. He rarely ever watches the NBA.
Send me the coordinates been entered. We good.
He's playing a video game, and he'll watch the highlights. He don't sit and watch the game, and that speaks volumes, G.
Yeah,
they can shift your energy anytime they want, because there is a level of domination attached to media. They can tell you what thoughts are valuable. They can tell you what we do it today. That's why we associate our value in proximity to whiteness, because they've said, hey, this is what's valuable. And we always assimilate. Everybody, that is the very nature of America. This ain't even a black thing, right? You go to any Chinatown in America, the Chinese settled in America about 3 generations ago. As they get into this 4th generation, their children are moving away from Chinatown because they've assimilated. We've been accepted into the American paradigm. We know that per capita, Asians and Nigerians make the most money in America. They make more money than white folks. It just ain't a lot of them, right? But let's think about Asian and Nigerians, specifically in context to how they view black people.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when they get to making their capital, they moving out to the suburbs. They are assimilating further and deeper into white culture.
Big facts.
Because that's what America does. That's the goal of America. And we've been trying to do it since our inception here too. We just ain't loud. You just ain't been invited to the party.
Mm-hmm.
As that bottom cast, we can always leverage you to be a source of capital, source of income.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the way the narrative works. There's gonna always be a bottom cast in the power construct. I'm just fucking tired of being the bottom cast.
Right. Ain't you sick of it?
Ain't you sick of it?
Like you would think that you would be, right? You would think that you'd be just kind of like sick of that shit. And that it would cause you to kind of move differently. Like just to move differently.
That need to be a t-shirt. Ain't you sick of it? God damn.
Ain't you sick of it? But like even when we talk about like can you whip my ass though, right? When we have that conversation, most people when that hits their ear, it's this real surface level thing. And it comes across as this like, this bravado thing like you want to fight. I ain't nobody trying to fight you. This shirt ain't even about you for real, right? You know what I'm saying? It's about a concept, like an idea of can you stop me from doing what the fuck I want to do? Yes or no? If you can, I'll probably stop doing whatever the fuck it is I'm doing. If you can't, I'll probably continue.
What's the Desperate Housewives or whatever TV show? Who gonna check me, boo?
Who gonna check me? Like who gonna check me, boo? Like,
that's it.
Period, poo.
Same thing as can you whip my ass? Who gonna check me?
Like who gonna check me? That's really what it is. Like and it's about everything, right? And so we talk about it, in terms of liberation or in terms of politics or in finance. It's any fucking thing. Whatever I decided my mind up about, it's relationships.
Mm-hmm. Fuck your Ford, little nigga.
Fuck your Ford, little nigga. It's all that shit. Who gonna stop me?
It is.
If you can, show me. If you can't, shut the fuck up.
Man, it is, bro.
Those are your two choices. Show me or shut the fuck up.
But we keep championing, though. We keep cheering and we keep applauding those who they appoint to be the champions of our narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And when they begin to champion our narrative, or at least get appointed to champion our narrative, they start reinforcing the narrative of whiteness, and we are so disconnected from the truth and understanding, we stand right behind them and clap.
That's real spill.
Right? We're clapping for our own demise. Right? It was my pearls and my chucks. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. It's wiping my shoulders off of Barack. Think about how that became a moniker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it has to become a moniker because we're not invested enough to know anything about legislation. We're not invested enough to understand politics. I heard somebody in the comments say, well, that's just what politicians do. There's a wide array of different kind of politicians.
Right.
And they've moved a lot of different kind of shit.
Right.
You tune in to Maze any morning, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? Tune in to Maze any morning. He will go in-depthly just about Chicago politics and how they're leveraging this to get to this, to leverage this to get to this. They're getting their needs met.
It's a direct line.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're getting their needs met. And you might write that shit off as, well, that's just who they are. Man, Madigan ran this goddamn state
like a
50
boss.
fucking years.
Like a boss.
Right? Think how many communities that one man undergirded. Right? We talk about Bridgeport all the time. The average income in Bridgeport is between $50,000 to $70,000. But the average wealth base in Bridgeport is like between $5 and $7 million. Mm-hmm. That's a direct reflection of the Daly family and the Madigan family.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get income. But these motherfuckers got city jobs. We know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they is city employees.
Mm-hmm.
And they worth $5 to $7 million. And that's across the street from what used to be a stateway.
Mm-hmm.
So on this side of the street, you got a wealth net of $5 to $7 million. On this side of the street, you got people with rats and roaches in the cereal box. Man, get the fuck out of here. We better stop paying attention.
It's real spill. It's real spill. And when they decide that's going to change, then they change it, right? It can go from Cabrini Green, the most notorious, lawless place in the country,
to the Gold Coast,
to just a shopping center for people who got a whole bunch of fucking bread.
That's it.
Like,
because we decided.
We decided. I love the analogy you made with Mike Madigan. It's a great segue into our next conversation. I was going to talk first. Two things we want to talk about in the 5 o'clock hour. One is all the rhetoric that is coming out of the Biden administration about how tough they're going to be on these domestic terrorists and extremists. And then the other thing we want to talk about was the fact that founder of the Gangster Disciples, Larry Bernard Hoover, was on the cover of the Sun-Times because they are yet again claiming that he was calling the shots for the GDs, even from behind the walls of a Supermax federal prison out in Florence, Colorado. They say he was still assigning members to the board from inside his cell. And it's interesting because right now he's in the middle of a case trying to get back home, right? And so even they would let him off his life sentence from the federal charge, which he's trying to get done, he would still have to come back home for the state charge because he got a 200-year sentence for ordering a murder in 1973 that is a state charge. So even if he get off the federal charge, he got to come back here and do those 200 years. So he's still not going to be coming home, but he would be able to finish his term in the state of Illinois. Either way, my point is what you were talking about with Mike Madigan. Mike Madigan's run this city, this state, like a gangster for 40 years, just like a gangster.
But see, it's only gangsterism when we do it.
That's what I'm saying, right? And I think that you said that the reason they won't let, before we came in the studio, you said the reason that they won't let Hoover come home ain't so much about right or wrong or the streets as much as it's about politics and his political influence. We talk about like 21st century vote, right? Or just the fact that if he could galvanize as many people.
Let's take this break and get back into that convo.
Yeah, if he galvanized as many people and get them to vote or shit like that, or now all of a sudden, what if Larry Hoover was Mike Madigan and not Mike? You know what I'm saying? What does that look like then? You got a bunch of fucking GDs getting all these city contracts and shit.
A bunch of black people.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole of Inglewood wouldn't look like the whole of Inglewood. Whole of Chatham wouldn't look like the whole of Chatham. 79th Street would not be 79th Street.
Man.
It wouldn't be the South Side, West Side.
Man.
That's that simple, right? But what's the thing about Hoover? What's the thing about Jeff Ford? They said Jeff Ford couldn't read, right? If I'm a betting, I don't know the situation. But what I do know
doesn't
is
seem
that,
unrealistic to me.
But what I do know is that he was able to organize.
Yeah.
He was able to galvanize and influence, right? Around what? I don't give a fuck, right? Same thing with Larry, right? Same thing with David Barksdale. Organize, galvanize around an energy, right? So when we start talking about that natural maturation in the masculinity, man, instead of looking for our way to find equality at some levels, man, it's that radical revolutionary, that radical gumption, that radical aggressive thought. It is an anchoring point for men who desire to be men. It's how you get men to galvanize themselves to go to war against other countries.
That's it.
It's that energy.
That's it.
That's the only energy that's ever been respected in a power construct.
You ain't got to be smart, man. George Bush ain't smart. He had every motherfucker on American soil ready to go find some insurgents with weapons of mass destruction.
That's right. ROW talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had third grade education. That's real. But he built the nation.
Keep it a buck. We're going to pause it right there. We're going to take a break. When we come back from this break, we're going to have that conversation in the back end of the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Joe Biden and their plans for holding their people accountable. We'll see what that looks like on the other side of this break. This is I Said What I Said, Herb and 2 for another hour. We'll be right back.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
Do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes.
And you can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now.
Somebody calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
Turn it around. It's me again. God's going to turn it around. I'm calling on you. You did it before.
WIFTBPN.
All day. Oh, 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 oh. Check it out. See, while you was on the corner trying to scrape up pack money, I was driving 80 stack trucks off rap money. I'm back money. If you want it, come to the hundreds and ask for me. Meet them OGs that'll blast for me. I'm right here. Ill Adidas, $400 jeans on me. Itchy with no safety, a loaded magazine on me. Southside, that's as wild as it gets. And no, I never sold crack. That's some house nigga shit. I'm not judging, but every man that's a man gotta stand by his principles, and I'm not budging. That's Mickey. You can take it how you want, but you can never be me. You can fake it how you want. I spit that uncut raw. You can bake it how you want. Break it down any way you like, you get the same result. Get in tune. The elephant in the room has now assumed pole position. Whoa. Oh. BJ, get him. Come on.
Reporting live from the gutter where that butter get gorillas jobs. That's why we call it work. The same work who get a nigga robbed. I throw my dice against the concrete. If the bitches pass, see you later. Grab my paper, tell us they kiss my ass. This the jungle, baby, I'm a lion. Try me, I'll be firing. The same banger saved Private Brian. You the prey, you survive and hide. Better pray that them vultures and them rovers don't go flying by him. Them other niggas just so-so. How Lindenberg for nigga this hot in the cold go. I went from 20-inch assassins on that Osmo to them pretty 760 sitting low on them bozos. Those are big shoes, you motherfuckers is so slow. Get caught without your heat in these streets is a no-no. Baby need Pampers, daddy need that photo. It's bread or nothing, big old niggas, you see the logo.
Whoa. Whoa. Come on, Scooter.
Look, I don't see a nigga alive. And if a nigga claim he better, then that nigga done lied. And if some niggas jump chose, bet them niggas done died. You can always spot a cobra by the look in his eyes. You look at his click, check out his bitch, look at his guys. Cause 9 times out of 10, all that tough shit be just a disguise. And that does it. I got the chrome Mac in a black luggage. Cause money ain't the root of evil, Jack is the lack of it. I stay different. I move around like y'all hate women. I'm starting to think this whole industry full of gay bitches. No checkers, it's a chess game. Catch me in the next lane. Fly nigga, bunch of ice on me like my chest frame. All money's pocketing that like a Hamas rocket attack. Explode profit and jacks for your moccasins black. Acknowledging that he resides. These scriptures is heathenized. Y'all couldn't paint the pictures that he provide. Eagle eyes, eagle eye the beef out. Either scream peace or pull your piece out. The flow will knock your teeth out. From out west where we never put our rags down, nigga. If I ain't the best, most likely it's that rag town, nigga.
That's me. All I can see on this beat. Whoa. Hey, haters, keep hating. Y'all inspire me. Chicago, West Side, South Side, North Pole, East Side. Stick your chest out.
And we are back. We are live from the beautiful What's In for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. This is I Said What I Said. Each and every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. we get together right here with you guys discussing issues impacting the black community. Thank y'all so much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you all. We are acutely aware of the fact that you could literally be doing anything else in the world, including absolutely nothing, but y'all hanging out with us, and we appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for choosing to do that. We do not take it for granted. Shout out to everybody that's watching on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that is watching on YouTube as well. And if you are watching the show later on this evening, we appreciate y'all coming in and checking it out.
Share.
Thank y'all so much. Please share. We're going to hop into this conversation about Larry Hoover. He was on the cover of the Chicago Sun-Times. And the article, headline reads, Gangster Disciples founder Larry Hoover appointed 2 gang leaders from prison, feds say. They're now charged with killing a rival board member of the notorious street gang in 2018 on the South Side. Hoover is seeking a reduction in his life prison term. I like the way they did this whole headline, except for the fact that the first part reads like a fact. I mean, it says Fed say, but it reads like a fact. Gangster Disciples founder Larry Hoover appointed 2 gang leaders from prison. Right? Then it says Fed say. But I do like the fact that it says that they're now charged with killing a rival board member of the Notorious Street Gang in 2018 on the South Side. How Hoover is seeking a reduction in his life prison term. The caveat that Larry Hoover is seeking a reduction in his life prison term because, in my opinion, that is what this is about. Right? This is about people not wanting him to be successful in his bid to have his life term reduced and to be released from federal prison. The timing of it just don't add up to me, right? So if this happened in 2018 and the murder happened in 2018, he apparently appointed them in like 2014, right? What I'm hearing about this now for? You know what I mean? Like, y'all it ain't too much investigation that had to go into it. He's been locked up in the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado. If you are familiar with the Supermax in Florence, Colorado, it is either 23-in-1 lockdown. I mean, you're locked down in yourself for 23 hours, you get out for 1 hour of rec, or it's 24-hour lockdown, complete isolation, right? They have some of the most reputed gangsters in the history of this nation there. You also have the likes of Timothy McVeigh, motherfuckers like that are locked up there. This ain't a place where you can write a letter and be like, yo, put so-and-so in charge now. Put so-and-so in charge now. Now, that's not to say there ain't no ways around it, right? I get it. They find ways to do what they're going to do. But it would be very, very difficult for him to do what they saying he did. That being said, let me read some of this article to y'all about what they are claiming to have taken place. Man, it's crazy to know that he's 70 years old now. You look at this picture of him right here as a young man sitting in the courtroom, like, man. But anyway,
well, part of even before you get to reading,
Sure.
you said why now. Part
Yeah.
of the why now, and they're going to address that too. I can't remember the name of the initiative, but I think it's a Trump initiative.
Mhm.
It was getting prisoners out of jail.
Yeah, it's a Trump
based
initiative.
on
First act, something like that.
yeah, something like that. First Step Act, or something like that. Yeah,
First Step Act.
And about disproportionate sentencing, right? So you think about Larry's sentencing, and Larry's case, his initial case was conspiracy to commit murder. I ain't catch you with shit. Like if you from the hood and you know hood niggas for real, you know conspiracy. A lot of people get hit with conspiracy because they can't catch you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they locked my uncle up for conspiracy for like 10 years, never caught him doing nothing.
It's what you do when you are in control of the game. I can
Absolutely.
change the rules. So the
I'll
rules
make the
are
rules.
this. I need to catch you doing this, and I can say, okay, you did this.
Yeah.
Well, I can't catch you. Let me change the rules. I don't have to catch you.
Right, and I'm not.
It's a conspiracy.
Again, it's a conspiracy, right? So again, but also
Rico.
going back to that radicalness, right? That radical energy of manhood and masculinity, right? And how you get people to mobilize behind that. I remember there was a time when Larry came out with this concept called 20th Century Vote, and when he did that, if you think about it, like Wallace Gator Brown's career was made off that. You know what I mean? And this is not like in support of Gator. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I remember specifically the same low end, that same Bronzeville community is now being gentrified, and you see upperly mobile young white families jogging through the neighborhood with all them dogs. I remember Larry had about 50 to 60,000 people walking down that block talking about taking initiative around the vote.
Yeah.
That in itself
scares the
shit
out of the
power structure. You know what I mean? And in that moment, that's when they start putting He also had a clothing line at the time called Ghetto Survivor, Ghetto Gangster. I don't know what it was called.
Plus, you could back up all of your political initiatives with equal or greater street force, which really scares them.
But the real street force was that you had an organization in itself. It just was organized, right? And if the chairman of the organization says go do, then the foot soldiers of the organization are going to go do.
So
if the push
just like
was
the
to go
police do
vote,
for the other side.
right? Just the push was to go, but even if the push was just to go vote, they're going to go vote. Or if the push was to go stand down, they're going to go stand down. And that's a representation of power. And when the power force saw that, hey man, let's dip this in the bud now.
Go suppress the voting in this
It's no
district.
different than Malcolm. It's no different than Martin. It's no different than all of the Panthers that they locked up. Whenever you start to get organized and you're radical and you have a belief system that you identify with and you're not willing to capitulate,
Go lock him
you
behind the
become
wall.
a
He'll
problem.
never get from behind.
Well, what did J. Edgar Hoover say when he killed Jeff Ford? I mean, not Jeff Ford. When he killed
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton, killed the Black Messiah, right? that's a mention. The Messiah part is kill all of them. Anyone that looks like he can lead his people to the promised land, we got to destroy that.
Get rid of him. That's too big a threat for us.
Period.
Can't deal with that.
Period. And in our history and the trajectory of time that we've been here, they've been able to do that. And that goes back to the conversation I said about fear.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason why they hung you in the middle of the town square, not in the back alley.
Yeah.
There's a reason why picnic is a word.
Yeah.
Right? Pick a nigga. Because we finna have a party around watching him die.
Right.
Think about the level of tyranny that you have to bring your baby to watch somebody die. And that's what they was doing. Because not only did they want a message to go out to you, they wanted a message to go out to their children.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we must do to maintain control and power of the resource.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Who in your right mind would bring your child to anybody's death?
That's it.
You wouldn't bring your child to see a dog get killed. You know what I'm saying?
There's a painting in Evanston right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. And it erases, it's a painting of a real photograph.
Mm-hmm.
But it erases the black man that's hanging from the tree, and it just looks like white people celebrating. If you match the photo with the painting, it's an exact duplicate of the painting.
I know which one you're talking about. I know what photograph you're talking about. I've never seen the painting, but I know the photograph that you're speaking of where the black man is actually in it. Let me get into some of this article, man. It says, in prison, Gangster Disciples founder Larry Hoover, who says he's no longer involved with the gang and is asking for an early release from his life sentence, promoted 2 men to top post in the gang while locked in a federal supermax prison in Colorado, according to an indictment unsealed Monday in East St. Louis. The indictment says the 2 men threatened to kill anyone who challenged their authority and on May 18, 2018, shot and killed a rival Gangster Disciples board member on the south side of Chicago. Hoover, whom prosecutors have called the most notorious gang leader in Chicago's modern history, isn't charged in the indictment, which targets the leaders of the Gangster Disciples in downstate Illinois and eastern Missouri in a racketeering case that includes 2 murders. Hoover has asked a federal judge in Chicago to reduce his life sentence under a reform measure called the Federal First Step Act, which allows people convicted of crack cocaine offenses to challenge their sentences in light of subsequent changes in federal sentencing guidelines. Other high-ranking members of the gang have been released from prison under the same law, but U.S. Attorney John Lausch urged U.S. District Judge Harry Leinenweber last year to keep Hoover in a federal prison for the rest of his life. The judge hasn't ruled. If Leinenweber decides Hoover has served enough time in federal prison under the life term he was handed in 1997 for running a criminal enterprise, Hoover still faces a 200-year Illinois state court sentence from 1973 for ordering the killing of a gang member he suspected was stealing money from him. Hoover's attorney, Justin Moore, said Tuesday he wasn't aware of the new indictment and questioned the idea that Hoover could have been involved in gang affairs from behind bars. It seems almost impossible that he would be able to communicate that to anyone if he were trying to, Moore said. Moore questioned why prosecutors, who previously had said they suspected Hoover was still involved in the gang, hadn't brought up the latest accusation during arguments over Hoover's bid for a reduced sentence. This is a 70-year-old man in the twilight of his years who has serious medical complications and is seeking release to finally be with his wife, children, and grandchildren after nearly 50 years of separation, Moore said. To have his name continuously thrown into the affairs of others and to be used as a scapegoat for criminal activity he has no connection to needs to cease. The new indictment says one member of the gang, Anthony Dobbins, told another, Warren Big Head Griffin, in September of 2014 that Hoover had appointed them as board members, the highest rank in the gang's leadership. First of all, some dude just be telling another dude, hey, Chief said we running shit now. What? Who talked to Larry Hoover, fam? Like who talked to him? Who knows? But anyway, it also says that Dobbins, 53, who's from downstate Troy, a suburb of St. Louis, and Griffin, 51, from Lancaster, Kentucky, threatened to kill anyone who resisted their authority, though it doesn't say how authorities got that information. Nobody even knows where this came from. These are just 2 niggas talking, man. On May 18, 2018, Dobbins and Griffin shot and killed Ernest Don Smokey Wilson, 65 years old, a rival Gangster Disciples board member in the 7100 block of South Euclid Avenue in Chicago, according to the East St. Louis indictment. That's right up the street from me. Dobbins and Griffin were arrested later in 2018. Dobbins for drug possession and Griffin in a separate case for illegal possession of a gun. Dobbins is being held in the same prison where Hoover is being held, the federal supermax in Florence, Colorado, according to the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. Griffin is in a federal prison in Kentucky. According to Chicago police, the Gangster Disciples and other big Chicago gangs have, over the past 2 years, fragmented into factions that are not controlled at the top the way they used to be. About 900 gang factions operate in Chicago today, police say, but recent indictments against Gangster Disciples members downstate and in Atlanta suggest that the corporate structure of the gang has remained in place. That is interesting to me, right? I don't know of any place where they're talking about the gang structure still being the same, right? They talking about down in Atlanta and downstate, by East St. Louis, and also down in Kentucky. I was watching some videos yesterday. It's some video, and I don't even know who it was, but I knew they were down in Memphis, right? Actually, somebody else was watching the video, and they were telling me how they was throwing up all these gang signs, right? It's gang banging hard as hell, and they were throwing up the rakes hard as hell in the camera, and I was like, they probably from Memphis, right? The music sound wasn't a Chicago thing. So I'm like, they got to be from Memphis because it's a heavy GD presence in Memphis, right? Just cats going down there. And so I don't know that structure still exists though. It definitely don't exist like that up here, right? You still have some guys that are kind of holding on to that. But those guys, as the people that were named in this indictment, 55, 60, they killed a dude who was 65 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are people who were, under Larry Hoover at that time. He's 70, they 65. Yeah, them the people who was running behind him heavy back then. But these shorties who 18, 19, they don't, what? Dobbins? Man, you better get the fuck out of here, fam. Like, you know what I'm saying? That type of structure don't exist. So this idea that Larry Hoover told these dudes they was now the board members to be running shit, fam, that board shit. And I got OGs that's really, really about that. One of my OGs, if he walk in this room right now, the first thing he's gonna be like is GD's in the house. He gonna throw up the rakes hard as hell. He's like 55. You know what I'm saying? So they under that act. But fam, that structure don't exist like that. You can't put that on that man. Furthermore, y'all don't even talk about where this shit came from. Y'all don't say we got a informant, we got a witness, somebody wore a wire. Y'all don't even identify where none of this information came from. Just these.
They don't even have nothing to attach Larry to the.
Y'all don't even charge. He's not even listed. He's not even named in the indictment.
But it's not about naming him.
No, it's just about keeping his ass locked up.
Right. It's about keeping that fear mongering in play.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And again, this just speaks to the totality of the rest of the conversation we've been having all day about being powerless.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And about what it takes to overcome that. And in a lot of ways, Larry was operating a fraction that operates at least in that mindset, and when you think about it, why Larry wouldn't have the kind of pull out on the streets today that he would have had, during, that time.
Sure.
Because revolution and radical thought is a young man's game. It just is.
It is.
Right? And every generation has to build on it. But just like the elephant study they do, when you take the father out of the community, the young warriors run wild.
The young elephants.
Right? The young elephants run wild. And they turn on themselves. But the minute you put the father back into the community,
structure and order is restored.
It reaffirms structure. Right? So a lot of ways that I think is harnessed by the fact that I was raised with a father in my home. You know what I mean? Though I was amongst the young elephants, I had some different rearing going on.
Right.
I do this shit to a point. Then it's a point I'm going to stop.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But it allowed me the opportunity to get to 45 years old with the mindset of leading the populace instead of feeding just my ego. Right? So, again, this isn't necessarily even a championing for Larry. It just speaks to how the game goes. Right? So these young warriors out here that are gunslingers, right? And they are at this point in their paradigm where they don't really have any attachment to anything. And if you can tap into that from a warrior standpoint, there's value.
There's extreme value there.
There's value.
There's extreme value there.
From a warrior standpoint, there's value.
You talk about how they treat like voter suppression, right? How they go out of their way to suppress voting from our demographic or in our communities. Where you talk about the long lines or whatever else you might deal with at a polling place in our communities. What type of voter suppression would it be for Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or whomever to make not whomever, but somebody one of them two to make a call to be like, we're gonna suppress voting in this district, in that district, in this district, right? And you go to wherever these white people be voting at, and it's just a bunch of fucking GDs just hanging around the polling place. right? You're gonna suppress some voting in that district, right? Police gonna be called to something, right? You're not like, but that's a level of power that if it's organized and used the right way, that scares the power structure, right? It's different from they've ever seen. They've never been challenged that way, and because they make up the rules, because they make up the laws, fam, you are a threat to me, right? So we'll do one of two things: we will come in and kill you, right? Because we can't really prove that. We can't really prove that Fred Hampton is involved in any criminal activity. So we'll just kill him. We're kicking his door, kill him. 21 years old. Larry Hoover is the leader of a street gang, so we can just lock his ass up forever, right? We put him downstate. Oh, shit, he's still calling shots from downstate? Fine. Send his ass all the way across the country.
Colorado.
Yeah, send his ass to Colorado in a Supermax where he won't see, hear nothing from nobody. All right, and now we cut him off. That's how you deal with your threats if you are empowered, right? I'll kill you or I'll get rid of you one way or another. If I'm in power, I can do that. You don't have that power, you can't get rid of Mike Madigan. So you just sit there and you try to figure out how I can best work with him, right? It would have been nice as hell for them to have to figure out how they can best work with Larry Hoover or best work with Jeff Ford or best work with David Barksdale, because I can't get rid of them. But they could get rid of them, so they didn't have to work with them.
Hey, shout out to King Salim, man. He just sent me a link to a book that looks like he wrote. Is that what's going on here?
Hey, man. Wait.
The new black leadership is gang related. I'm trying to figure it out. It's halfway letting me into the site.
Just one more Gumpian document, man.
Yeah, I'm a
the Black Forrest Gump.
Yeah, everywhere, G.
Honor and respect to King Salim. He's everywhere. He's done everything. Of course, he wrote the book.
I'm everywhere. You never there.
Right. He probably wrote the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm gonna have to go and cop that one, Salim.
Yeah, indeed. We put that on the list.
Yeah, but I agree with you, man. But the analogy still stays the same. It still stays, right? It's that these people have the kind of effect that they have based on their level of gumption, radical thought, and inability to, in a lot of ways, assimilate.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This ain't an option for me. And because it ain't an option for me, I got to create something out of this.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
But to the point of Uncle Walt's conversation,
mm-hmm.
right? You cannot revolt against that in which you love,
mm-hmm.
right? There was a point in time where, that separation between downtown and Inglewood, or even that separation between Inglewood and Chatham, just because of the divide of the expressway,
sure,
were real clear dividing lines.
Oh yeah,
right,
yeah.
And it created a paradigm in which you knew that this was the struggle you was going to endure. Those lines are still there today.
Chicago was built that way intentionally. They used the expressways to box off communities in Chicago. It's intentional.
It's in totality of America, though, right? Those barriers are still clearly defined.
Same shit.
In regards to this, which is why you had the conversation that only 2% of black folks are in the private sector working.
Mm-hmm.
So those barriers are still there. You're not invited to the party, fam. Right?
Nah.
But where those barriers don't exist no more is mentally. We've been confused, right? And it's that separation between journey and a destination. We assume that we are going to get there without whatever the process is. And because we don't pay no attention to the process, we really think the gates is open. Because if you paid any attention to the process, you'd recognize that goal that's attached to that journey is not afforded to you in this way. So you got to reevaluate how to achieve said goal. But our aspiration is what drives us at this point.
It's the mind now.
It's the mind.
I don't like, once I get the mind, I don't need the body anymore. I have the body now, right? I control the mind. So I already got the body. Some people want to just control the body. Nah, if I can get the mind, fuck the body. You know what I'm saying? It's like you tie a horse up long enough, you can untie that motherfucking horse. He ain't going nowhere. He's conditioned to stay his ass right here. He don't got to be tied up no more. I had you tied up long enough. I'll untie this thing. You ain't going no motherfucking where, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the condition that we find ourselves in right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to be physically confined. We are mentally confined now. And so whereas those kind of defining lines around the city of Chicago, they still exist, but they more so still exist as a mental hurdle as much as anything. You kind of feel different outside of certain spaces, right? You can go to fucking Bridgeport now, right? Like there was a time when you literally couldn't take your black ass over there. That's gonna fuck you up. I mean, you could go.
It's
right?
still days like that now, though.
No, but I'm saying like they was going to fuck you up if on site. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they saw you, what the fuck you doing on the west side of the damn Rhine, nigga? Like beating your ass. And so, you know, even though those physical confines aren't quite the same, and to your point, you're right, they do still exist, but the mental constraints like are still in place, and that's greater than the physical ones. That's greater than any pimp will tell you, man. Like it ain't about a body. Once I get a mind, it's cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like fuck that.
It's real.
Yeah, that's the easy part.
It's real. Yeah, the barriers are now in the mind.
Yeah,
but those barriers are also rooted in what you said before, right? The illusion of inclusion. But the illusion of inclusion might have worked for some people. You know what I mean? But there's always this reality you had to turn back to, right? And when you start thinking about how media dominates our lives these days, there's no disconnect, right? So I still, as a child, TV still went off air. Like it legitimately went off air.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This fuzzy shit was going to happen. Right. And it's not on-demand entertainment, right? So just in the course of a day, TV was going to play some shit that I had no interest in paying attention to. Right, which would essentially drive me to be outside with my friends and start to build a real capacity to understand in my community because now I'm actively engaging as part of it.
Real.
Right?
That's real.
So how many generations now have we gone where we've not raised children in the communities that we lived in? It was raised in the house within the communities that they lived in, but the culture of the house is not the culture of the community. You understand? So there's no connectivity to that community. There's no connectivity to those people. The only thing they're connected to is the aspiration attached to the medium which they are ingesting all day. And just like food, everything you put into your body has an effect on you, right? So your drive, your aspirations, your goals are all attached to what media tells you should be attached to while you no longer have any connectivity to the community. And it's a cyclical thing. It's a cycle.
On and on and on.
And again, it's like the coffee analogy, right? You pour coffee and eventually you keep pouring cream in that motherfucker, it ain't coffee no more. Right? You got coffee with your cream instead of cream with your coffee. You know what I mean?
It's like that story you was telling about that pimp who caught the flat, who car was on the flat.
Sonny.
Right.
My first childhood hero.
His car's on the flat. And you're like, oh, your car on the flat? You're like, oh, okay, cool. Then you get ready to go. Like, I'm finna go. No, your car on the flat. No, it ain't, fam.
No, it ain't.
I ain't saying you do nothing to rectify it. Oh, it's rectified, fam. Yeah. You can better believe it. Because I already got their mind. So I don't got to call them and tell them what to do with their body. I got their mind. I know what they finna do with their body.
Think of this again to effect, though, right? Cause and effect.
They finna fix my damn flat.
I just made the analogy about the shorties not having any connectivity to that world and all. They don't see the journey. They just see the destination. And I also just made a joke, and it really wasn't a joke. I said it was my first childhood hero. I thought Sonny was a cold motherfucker.
I didn't think you were playing.
I thought he was a cold piece of work.
It's funny, but I didn't think you were playing.
But I was like, this is a cold piece of work right here. You know what I mean? But again,
for sure,
with no understanding to the road that got Sonny to being the kind of pimp that he was.
Everybody I thought was dope when I was a shorty. I grew up to find out that they was into some frowned upon activities. I'll say that.
But that's just what I'm saying, though, right? So yeah, all I see is the end road. All I see is the end goal. Sonny Scott had a problem. Sonny didn't leave the living room, and Sonny Scott didn't have no problem no more. Right? I don't know what it means to be a pimp in real life, though.
Let me tell you something.
You understand what I'm saying? You don't know either. Right? It's a whole different. I mean, a pimp, not a gigolo, nigga. It's a difference. It's a difference, brother. But I'm serious though, right? What does that life entail? What kind of pain is attached to that? What kind of struggles is? I don't know, right? But all I saw was he cold as hell, Joe.
Big facts.
You know what I'm saying? And that was enough.
But what is it that pimps possess? All of them in spades.
Charisma.
And what else? Charisma is right. That they got gumption.
Oh yeah, audacity is something.
Just to say whatever the fuck they want to say.
Yeah, they got charisma, but that's how powerful that is, right?
Just to say what, like I'm gonna bring it to you however I want to bring it.
It's some amazing shit, G.
And and that's not a 10. I'm telling you the truth. I'm just telling the truth that most motherfuckers won't tell you.
The power of the tongue is mighty.
Yeah, G.
It is mighty.
Yeah, G.
I don't align myself with no religion.
Right.
But I have found myself in churches crying.
Mesmerized by what the preacher is talking about.
Mesmerized by what the preacher talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It is real.
Mm-hmm. It's
You know what I mean?
it's real. I used to work with this dude, man. And to this day, he's one of the funniest dudes I've ever encountered in my life. Older cat. By the time I met him, older cat was just working because he ain't had shit else to do. You know what I'm saying? More money than he needed. He was good, but he always tell a story, man. This was his language, not mine, right? A hoe bought my first Cadillac. Hoe bought my first Cadillac, and he was dead serious. West Side dude, dead serious. Hoe bought my, but he
Don't be sorry, bitch. Be careful.
Yeah, just the way that he used to talk, the way that he used to carry it, man. You could tell he was the genuine article in his day. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, man. He was like, what? He's like, y'all go to. He like, her, y'all go. He's because I used to drink Grey Goose almost exclusively at the time when I worked with this dude. And so he be like, Herb, I got some of that shit you be drinking with the little blue birds on it. I got some of that shit if you want some of that shit with the blue birds on it. I don't know what y'all be drinking that shit. And then y'all go to the club and y'all pay $300-$400 a bottle for the shit. He said, Herb, man, in my day, I ain't never walked in no goddamn bar and bought a drink. Is you crazy? Bitch was buying me drinks. This is him. This is where I swear to God, G. I swear to God.
I'm telling you, man.
Like this was him all the time, just talking to you. He would say shit that.
But I'm gonna
blow
give you
your
some
mind.
more game though,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is about the lack of black masculinity as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? And from a young man's perspective, you probably can't identify or understand it in that capacity,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because we lack power in the essence of our lives, what we do is we obtain power through running women. And the shit looks appealing because we don't run shit else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So as a young man, that becomes part of the goal as an identity to give you a fine power in running women.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I was no different than any other young man. I saw that shit as appealing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sonny was a god. You know what I mean?
I hear you, my G.
So little shit like I remember my first fucking voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was legit. I didn't say nothing on the voicemail. It was a recording of Don Magic Wand. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it was a story about some woman he was dealing with. And he was like, man, she was on a stroll for me and she got beat up and they stabbed and everything. And I go see the girl in the hospital and her mama was standing there right next to him. She said, Daddy, I got to get better just to get out here and get your money.
Okay.
And her mama looked at me and said, what have you done to my daughter? And I looked back at her mama and I said, that's dedication, man.
The fact that you remember it word for word,
Nobody else was
definitely
like
on
a
your
year and a
WhatsApp.
half. It's so retarded, though.
That explains a lot.
It's retarded. I'm so happy
I feel
that I
you.
grew past that
Yeah.
stage of
Nah,
my
I feel
life.
you.
But that's really where we find power.
Yeah, nah, man. Listen, let me tell you, these just some funny shit that Richard.
It's a distorted patriarchy. That's true.
It's just some funny shit that the dude told me a couple times. I heard him say this, right? He was into it with another one of our coworkers, right? And it was always real cool. They cool to this day, but because they was who they were, they bumped heads a lot. Anyhow, one day they into it, and she stormed out. Fuck you, y'all ain't talking to you. Don't say shit to me, right? He said at that point, he said that to this day it might be the coolest thing and the most real shit I've ever heard in my life. He said, hell, fuck I care about her not talking to me for. I used to not know her. I said, well, I'll be damned. That is the coolest shit I've ever heard. Hell, I care about you not talking to me for. I used to not know you. I was like, damn, that's so real. I used to not know you, and I was cool. I can not know you again, and I'll be cool. Like that was the type of dude he was, and he said anything he wanted, man.
Well, you know, this is the let me test your work hour. So these are the conversations that happen in this hour.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
It's we on point.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this one more thing about this dude, and I'll be done talking about it. We had a work order to go. I don't know. Somebody had a complaint about something in their bathroom, right? So we get up there to these people's apartment to fix something in their fucking bathroom, and we get there, and he's like in their face, right? It's just me, him, and the people that live in this apartment. And he like, and they were some foreigners, right? And so he's like, hell, Herb, they over there in their country, they used to take in a bath, dump a bucket on their head. They want to come over here and talk about water pressure. I say, what? Because that was their complaint. Something's wrong with the fucking water coming out of the thing. He like, in their country, they dump a bucket on their head, take it back, want to come over here and talk about water pressure. These people, they're right here. Right? They like, you know what I'm saying? They right here.
But in a lot of ways,
he did
too,
not
right?
give a fuck.
Right. Your paradigm doesn't influence me in one way.
He didn't give a
I'm gonna tell you
single
some shit
fuck.
that blew my mind. And this is about how controlled, programmed, or whatever you want to think of it is, how we move, right? Being from here, I got a Indian partner through another one of my partners. One of my best friends has an Indian friend who's a doctor, is married, has a doctor wife, like real Indian. You know what I mean? We was talking one day, and I was like, man, you know, Indian women is attractive. We just talking shit. The garage kind of talking. He's hanging on, you know, being a spy to the black conversation. You know how it go. And I was like, yeah, RJ, I'm going to get me one of them Indian girls, G. Watch. I'm going to pull her tonight. Watch out. You just talking shit. Trying to bother him.
Yeah.
And he was like, it'll never happen. And then now I'm interested.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's all I need is what I can't do.
You know who you talking to?
Right.
But now I want to know what he's talking about, right? Because I don't really have context to Indian culture and nothing like that. I ain't never really paid it no attention.
Right.
He was like, they never deal with you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Never, it wouldn't happen.
Right.
Just because of your status.
Right.
Right? Go to China. Right? Hong Kong. Right? Do you know who runs the underworld in China?
Who?
The Indians. Right? Do you know who's selling vagina on the corner in China? The Indians. It just was an interesting shift in the paradigm. Right? Because the see that you get here and you change this identity to being one thing. Right? And over there, it's like it's a whole nother understanding. Like it was like some shit off Sanford and something. I had them moms running up on me in the street, opening the jackets with 1,000 watches hanging from them.
I got some real flat personal hygiene equipment.
It was like comical to me. You know what I mean?
Stop thief.
But it's true. Like the dichotomy of it is that's over there. That's the culture. That's their caste there. And in their own country, the darker you are, the greater the caste is on you, which is just the understanding. It's the political understanding there.
Real spill.
Right? But they get here. Those that do make it here come from elite, wealthy class. When we start talking about Kamala and the Brahmins, right? Now, this is a Indian I'm talking to. Now, this might have been 15 years ago when we was having this conversation, maybe even longer than that, right? And flat out words out his mouth was, they'll never fuck with you. Off the strength of your race. 15, 20 years later, we're cheering and wearing Chucks and prayers to celebrate one of them. Think about how that shit is Twilight Zone, bro.
Yeah, that's real spill, bro.
It's Twilight Zone.
That's real spill. You control the narrative. You control the rules. You control the outcomes. It's real. It's real simple. And if
somebody get the audacity to flip the
until
goddamn board
somebody
over.
gets the audacity to flip the board over and stop lying to themselves that somehow they're going to make up your 400-year head start around the monopoly board. You're lying. You don't even believe that. You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't give up that positioning. For nothing.
Not for nothing.
Not for nothing.
Not when I have every resource at my disposal to keep myself from losing it. Fuck no. I'm not giving you nothing at all. King Salim says, during my days in the NOI, we used to be taught on how easy it was to pimp women. All it required was a projection of masculine confidence.
That's real. And think what he said, projection. It ain't even got to be true.
It ain't got to, it just, can I put this out? You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes you places. It takes you places. We just saw 4 years of that shit.
And RW just responded and said, Salim, nothing has changed. And I'd agree.
That's it.
I'd agree.
That's it, bro. Like, we just saw 4 years of it. We just saw 4 years of Donald Trump fucking spewing verbal whatever all over people, and people were just soaking it up. It don't have to be true. He just got to put it out there with the gumption to stand on it. And motherfuckers eat that shit up and follow it.
Oh, I know.
It's real. It works. You could do that shit. Roll with it, man.
Man, look,
you got to
black
decide.
And male. I know. It's part of the paradigm, right? Like, I made the joke several times ago. It's just like, I just got to find the right lie. Y'all was laughing, but that's usually how the game works. You know what I mean? Until you walk into the fullness of who you are.
That's real spill,
right?
dog.
And when you're not walking in the, and that's kind of how we, it's kind of how we permeate the trauma amongst one another too, right? Because we do lack the reality of the confidence or the trueness of our own masculine energy. Per se.
For sure.
We're not operating in that right space. So what we do is, like Salim said, we project an energy in truth. And when you projecting that shit, you confuse women. They start to create an understanding of who you are, and you're not there for the reality of or any value in them. It's just that use them and abuse the situation because it's the only place you're finding power. And it's just like any other person who never has power. The minute they get it, they abuse it.
Yeah, you don't see no value in them, but let's be honest, you don't see no value in yourself, right? You changed everything.
Absolutely,
you changed everything about you to be this pimp type motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You changed the way you look, the way you walk, the way you talk, the shit you say, the shit you think, right? Because who I was not valuable. I created another character who is
valuable and who I deem
you know what I'm saying?
valuable.
Right. And so, I don't see you as I didn't even see me as valuable, right? Only value comes from me acting like this. So let me be this, right? To the core. For 70 years if I gotta be. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the reality of the situation. But again, when you have a bunch of people who are not concerned at all with original thought or being sovereign human beings who can think for themselves and act for themselves, it's easy to influence them to do pretty much any fucking thing. We got plenty of examples throughout history of charismatic motherfuckers with the gumption to say wild shit, getting people in mass to kill themselves.
All kind of shit. To vote for them.
Kill themselves.
Right? Buy their products. It's all the same
Kill
shit,
themselves.
Right?
Shit.
That's why sales positions are always open.
Yes.
Because that's the skill,
Yes.
goddammit.
Can you come in here
and convince people that
and
this shit
convince
has
people that
value?
you believe the bullshit that you know ain't real? You know what I'm saying? You go to some of these sales pitches and these 2-hour fucking presentations and shit. There's no fucking way you believe that.
But
you're selling it in such a way.
It's a lot of people that actually do believe it, though.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why it's so effective. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But it goes back to the conversation about leadership. Those who are really probably good at leadership avoid the calling. You know what I mean? But there's people who show up for it every day.
Show up for it every single
And they
day.
convince
and people
a
are
wealth
followed.
of people to do whatever they say do.
Oh my God.
Right? We can name 30 of them in Chicago right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They getting money. They getting influence. They getting. I'm working hard for some of these conversations, and these motherfuckers is calling me about people I can't stand. Like, why do you talk? Why do you know who that person is?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But because it works. It's some value to it.
It works.
You know what I mean? That's why media is so popular. That's why it's so valuable, right? The more voices or ears you have tune in to whatever you're doing, the more influence you have.
So Demetrius said, this was probably, 15, 20 minutes ago. He said that with your hair like that and in that white, you actually look like Larry Hoover. And I know what picture he's talking about of Larry Hoover when he got on that all white and he's got the long hair.
Who are you talking about?
You, nigga, not me.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
that confusion yellow nigga. Everybody look the same shit.
I thought so until I looked at it on the screen. Because I know what picture, there's a specific picture that he's speaking. There ain't that many damn pictures of Larry Hoover. But the specific picture he's talking about, he's dressed like all white. It kind of gives like this angelic God effect type thing.
Well, I do have that angelic God effect kind
Sure.
of thing
Yep.
going on.
Yep.
I do have
Yep.
that.
That's exactly what he meant. Yep. And so I looked at
I do
it.
have
Right.
that.
But also,
Do you see my aura?
I see it. Brother. I see it. How could I miss it? It's undeniable. But I did want to say, I really like that sweatshirt, bro. That joint is fire. And I know y'all can't see it on camera because the light.
The light got me glowing in my angelic aura.
It looked like he's got on the white sweatshirt, the all white sweatshirt. It don't. It actually got red writing on the sweatshirt or red outline writing on the sweatshirt. It's fire, man. Do it for the culture. I like the whose is it?
Appreciate it, bro.
Black Renaissance.
Copy you one when I get an opportunity, man. I got you.
Yeah, I dig it. Man, we are just about out of time, man. We didn't really spend too much time on the Biden thing, but we didn't really want to in the first place. So
this was the one thing though that got sent out by. We
Right.
could read this before we get off.
Right.
I got this. This was sent in through CNN, I think it was. And this was just about what's coming up in the next weekend from the Office of Homeland Security. And it's essentially saying, hold on, I'm moving too fast apparently. Homeland Security issues bulletin over heightened threats to the environment following the inauguration. And essentially it's a Homeland Security bulletin that says that beware Negroes, because these white folks is angry.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it, verbatim, in like 2 sentences. These white folks is angry and they serious. And they saying they gonna beat y'all ass. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how it goes.
we warned you, nigga.
We warned you, nigga.
Duck. Duck.
Hey, man.
Do you think that they gonna be tough on these people?
Or the ones who stormed the Capitol?
Or any of these future
I don't think this is
domestic
over.
terrorist
I think
extremists?
This is the beginning. I don't think this is stopped. This is not going to stop, right? These boys got a point to prove, and history shows us that when they got a point to prove, they stand on it. So I think we got to understand that, right? It is that Homeland Security whatever issue bulletin. It's laughable to me because my whole life has been under that kind of pressure, and it ain't being from white folks, but it's from the energy that white folks create. Right, but one thing I know for a fact, if you just read the history books, bro, they don't stand down. They operate from a state and place of lack. And when you operate from a state and place of scarcity, you will do whatever needs to be done to survive. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Problem is, we operate from that same space, and because we're of that loving kind of what's the word? That loving frequency. We battle with that love and that hate frequency within us, that scarcity and abundance frequency within us. We've not gotten to the place and space where we operate fully in that scarcity identity.
No.
You see it sometimes. You see it in the O blocks. You see it in the greens when the greens was the greens. You see it in the Taylors when the Taylors was the Taylors.
It's the same conversation we were just talking about the pimp shit though, right? I didn't find any value in myself. I created this other character who then is deemed valuable. Same shit we've done. We didn't see any value in ourselves as we were. And so I create this character now through fake Gucci belts, Jordans, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
A level of unconsciousness that keeps me away from my reality.
Right. So I create this thing that is deemed valuable, and now I'm cool with that. So I'm just gonna keep rolling with that as opposed to, dealing with the reality of who I actually am and finding some peace and love inside of that person. Same shit. One person just became, a shiny suit, slick talking motherfucker, and another motherfucker became a shiny gym shoe chain wearing motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. Like you
both powerless.
Yep.
Both looking to take advantage of women.
Yep. Both locked out of opportunity in the
power. Right. So my point is, that's not their narrative though.
Mm-hmm.
Their narrative is when I feel like I've been wronged or I feel like I want something, right? The savage, right? The savage. That's a real moniker for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a savagery attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that at the rate that we're suffering oppression in America, we better find a way to match that savage.
Mm-hmm.
So when you send me the bullets and say, hey, beware, my mindset is always already there. I was being aware in 1986. The first time I got called nigga was enough for me. I got the message, right? And I just want the rest of us to get the message, right? Somebody sent me a video the other day of this chick in Florida talking to another white woman who was probably had some black movers or something helping her with moving into a house or apartment or something. And the white chick was going off, and she said something about the black move, and she said, I don't want this nigga in my area. And the guy who sent me the video, I was like, man, in my mind and in my heart, I want to believe that I'm above reacting to somebody calling me a nigga. But also at the same time, I'm looking for the next scene where you knocking that motherfucker off their feet. Like, it's not in me. I want to say I'm mature and above that, but in truth, I'd be itching for you to move like that around me sometime. You know what's gonna happen here?
So Mary Lee is a comedian. She's from Chicago. She got this video, and if we had time, I would find it, but we don't. We gotta get on the show. She has a whole video about. I mean, she's like, it's a joke, but she's like begging for a Karen to try her, and she's like crying about it and shit. She's like, it's funny as hell. She's like, I can't believe it's just not fair. Everybody else keep getting tried by these Karens in the store. Well, none of them tried me. Like I've been waiting for them to try me. Like I kind of be waiting to get tried on this fuck shit.
I think the the invention of the camera phone is not gonna get the credit it deserves.
Okay,
right? Because the camera phone has legitimately changed the world. It legitimately changed the world.
Big facts,
right? And
niggas, stop taking selfies too.
I think what we get to see though in those moments, we get to spark conversation, and we get to see the reality of the people that we're around. Specifically in them intimate moments when ain't nobody else looking. I've had conversations with my guys who I love, right? And they be like, man, I ain't even tripping on nobody calling me a nigga. But man, there was this one video and it irked the shit out of me. It was a dude with his son and they was at this like little pond or river or something fishing. White dude with a canoe or some shit. They get at the white dude is aggressive, calling them all kind of niggas and cowards and punks and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And the black dude just takes out his camera phone
Right.
and starts filming.
Right.
And the white dude said, yeah, you can do all that shit you want because you're a fucking coward.
Right.
And I was in alignment with the white dude.
Oh, you are.
Right? Because you.
And what are you telling your son?
Right. You thought the protection was the picture or the phone. And we all do that. We break the phone out like it's a weapon.
Here's the thing, fam. Now that you've chosen to capitulate like that, I don't even need to touch you. I'm already beating your ass right now.
All right. But what do you break out the phone for? To report it to daddy.
I'm going to tell
daddy?
him.
You know what I'm saying? The same system that created this motherfucker.
The same reason he feels empowered to come up on you like that, that's his motherfucker you going to go tell? Stop it, fam.
Man, I wish the fuck I would break out a camera. The last thing I wanted in that situation
If
is a
somebody
camera.
see. Yeah, no documentation here.
I don't want a camera there, bro.
What dude? No, nobody came up here bothering me.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want is a goddamn camera.
As the bubbles float up in the little fucking pod or whatever. Like, man, stop fucking
Said,
playing
like
with
Meek
me.
Mill's doing the bunny for them white boys. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what's to that. I did hear something about Meek doing something for some white boys. Y'all got to send us the video and we can hop into it tomorrow. So.
Flo, we out of here, bro. Can we get some tested work?
Listen, man, y'all come back this evening. Make sure y'all are here for In the Zone with Brian Foster. That is at 7 o'clock. And then Week Ho Wednesday, Reese the Ruler and Toy will be in here at 8:30 for Week Ho Wednesday. I'm going to be around hanging out with them here in the studio this evening. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place at 3 p.m. Y'all get up early for the Ruthie Moore Show. Stick around for all of the programming on What's in It for the Black People Media tomorrow. Stick around for the green side of things as well. And I think Tennille is doing Parenting in a Pandemic on Thursday. And we'll be back here at 3 o'clock. We will see y'all then. Until then, y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.
Live it up. You about that life. I'm about that life. You ain't really about that life. If you really about that life, JC, spit a key. Let me test your work. Boss, you the boss. Let me test your work. Jesus, you talking breezy. Let me test your work. Cam, you the man. Let me test your work. Dre and Snoop like that chronic. I need something stronger. Molly cute, that's like an aspirin for my daughter. Big time in the club with a case of Ace, and now I sniff that whole table. Scarface, another court case. I'm a frequent offender. When Wyclef was hot, I was gone to November. 6 years, hard time. Bobby was fucking up. Whitney could have been mine. We would have been so high and so in love. When Amy Winehouse died, I could have saved her. I could have smoked like half of that. She wouldn't have had to go in cardiac arrest. Hands up under her dress. Lindsay Lohan her mess, but I still go above her breast. I must confess, I heard from a little birdie. Bring some crystal meth, you can get that from Fergie. Had a real nice dream, me and Charlie Sheen. Few Playboy bras, I was high in Rock Ford. Brick after brick, like Shaq at the free throw. I stayed hard, I put coke in my pee hole. You bout that life? I'm bout that life. You ain't really bout that life. If you really bout that life, 50, get with me. Let me test your work. T.I., I'm trying to get high. Let me test your work. Birdman, I hear you, man. Let me test your work. Brick Squad, I like it hard. Let me test your work. I want that shit that made Britney shave her head. I want that shit made DMX say he a fed. I want that shit that had Amanda Bynes tweaking. I want that shit Lance Armstrong compete with. I'm a winner by any means. You dig me? Praise